Aren't you poster? No clue, far from the land. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football nest. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football nest. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo who waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fans on the side, hearts turned to stone. Stadium echoes, a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Up on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass. And goes the future fading fast. Where's the leader we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the leader we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. Post-match Crystal Palace v Spurs analysis show. We've got Dan from Hotspur Hood. We've got Hasbur from Hasbur TV. We've got Ian. We're going to have a few others joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to everyone's channels and this one. Oh, my goodness me, people. Do you know what, guys? I don't know what I'm more shocked by. The 1-0 loss to a team that hasn't won all season, or the videos I'm watching from other YouTubers and podcasters saying, like downplaying as if it's a one-off. I just put on last one Spurs. I turned off after 10 minutes. I'm like, what planet are we on here? Everyone in the chat, thanks for being here, by the way. Hit the like. Leave your comments on the show. I'll make sure we get through as many as we can. We've got 230 people watching already. Thank you so much, guys. Bless. I'll go first, right? I'll go first. And we'll do a quick kind of round and then we'll get into it bit by bit. That was absolute shit. I mean, that was absolute crap of the highest magnitude. Worse than Brighton, worse than Coventry, worse than anything I've seen this whole season. At least Brighton, we scored a couple of goals. For 45 minutes, we looked really good. At least against Coventry, we somehow nicked it, turned it around and won the game. Today, we played one of the worst teams in the Premier League. And if we lost 4-0, no one would have argued. They ripped us. They properly ripped us. Other than some half chances and a bit of a lucky moment that hit the post, mate, they had us. They had us. And do you know what cracks me up? Every week we do these shows. There's always someone that comes in the comments saying, you wanted Glasner. Let's talk about it. Why don't you ever talk about Glasner? Well, let's talk about Glasner, people. Let's talk about how Glasner got his first win of the season against Tottenham Hotspur's £400 million Ange ball tactics. I'm absolutely stunned by this one because I always predict we'll beat the bottom 10. I've said we'll beat all of them. That was absolutely fucking dreadful. Any which way you look at it, it's indefensible. Anyway, Dan, have your little 1 minute segment before we get into it all. And big up everyone.
Well, basically, I thought we'd win it 3-1. I thought we could do this significantly. And was I surprised that we lost it? No. Are you ever surprised when Tottenham screws it up? No. I'll go into detail later on with it. But Ange, you just proved me and a lot of others right again. That you haven't got a clue on a consistent, regular basis. It's all good making the right decision in two games out of 10, but I want to see decisions 8 times out of 10. I want this manager to show he can change tactics 8 times out of 10. Doesn't always have to win, but he has proved again why so many people have got no faith in him. But then you'll have all the others sitting there, oh no, it was all the players. But then we go and win a game, it's purely on Ange. And I'll leave it at that.
I agree with everything you've just said. By the way, big up to Maz. Whenever Maz comes on the show, I always think of like Nigel Farage walking out on the stage for a form party to that. Guess who's back? Back again. I think here comes Maz. He's back.
When you said,
by the way, Maz is Nigel Farage.
Trump. Yeah, I thought that as well.
I was thinking Nigel Farage, Donald Trump, like
say, Maz ain't that pretty.
Has 1 minute, 60 seconds. What did you make of that today?
Most people in the Spurs fan base thought we were going to win the game. Because on paper we have better players than Palace. Maybe like one player gets into our team, Eze. That's about it, really, if we're being honest. So any half decent manager should really win the game, you would have thought, because they have better players than the opposition. But as per usual, the Spursy never dies, and I'll just leave it at that for now.
Spursy never dies. Different manager, different football director, same chairman. Ian, last week you said to me, in fact, no, we won't go there just yet. I'll warm you up because I'm going to bring it up. You were at the game. What was the mood? What was the feeling? What were fans saying in the stands?
We'll only have a big way if I tell you what a lot of the fans were saying. But let me just sum up what I thought of the afternoon. Let's talk about the positives. Sun was shining. The trains were working on time. It didn't take long to get to Palace. And I had a great Subway melt with chicken and bacon with barbecue sauce. And that was about as much positivity as I can talk about today. And the biggest thing for me was the unprofessionalism of the players again. For 90 minutes, most of them, not all of them, most of them, there was a lack of effort, intensity. It was just disgusting. I think they turned up thinking they could just roll Palace over just by turning up. Just so pissed off tonight. So much more pissed off than Brighton. At least with Brighton, you got 45 minutes of decent football and a couple of goals. This was utter shite.
Yeah, I agree. Absolute shit. Maz, good to have you on the show. I don't know if you saw the game or not. I think you did. No, you did.
I did, yeah.
We're chatting in the WhatsApp group. What did you mean? I think that's the worst performance of the entire season. I thought that was the worst out of everything I've seen all year.
In my cameo last week, I said, didn't I, that we didn't know what Tottenham was going to turn up to Crystal Palace. And on that basis, I wasn't that confident. I didn't really know what the result was going to be because I sort of given up now trying to predict how we're going to perform. I mean, obviously we have that theory, don't we? That I say it's a theory, it's more a fact that we generally perform better against the bottom half of the table than the top half of the table, which doesn't take too much analysis to conclude to. However, my gut feeling was, despite Ange tweaking things ever so slightly for a few games and giving us a glimmer of hope that he's adapting and learning from his mistakes, well, that was shot to pieces, wasn't it? I mean, it was the same old tactics, same old problems, nothing new in that game. All the players defaulted to their usual selves. Basuma, I don't even think VDV had a good game today. Porro didn't have a good game. Udoji didn't have a good game. Maddison, did nothing. Kulu defaulted back to his old self. Johnson went right back to his old self. I mean, it was just typical Ange ball, typical Ange team. And I have a theory that I've said many times before, but this is what you get when you buy bottom half level players. We've gone out and he's assembled the team, with players from the bottom half of the league, and we're sort of defaulting to that standard, aren't we? To be honest with you, that's what I think.
I just don't understand how this is defended. How fans can defend the owner, the chairman, the board, the recruitment team, Ange, half of these players. I mean, the players I'll never blame because we headhunt them. They don't knock on our front door and say, "Are there any jobs going?" We go and find them and pay money to bring them and pay them wages. I don't blame them necessarily, because it happens under every manager. But this is something different. Do you know? We will get into the game. I just want to bring up these stats. He's won 2 games in the Premier League against top 10 opposition since January 2024. He's won 3 away games in the Premier League in 2024. 3 away games in 10 months. He's won 6 out of the last 14 games in the Premier League. He's lost 8. He's lost 50% of the league games this season. Nuno Espirito Santo, Marquesa, Unai Emery, Arne Slot, Herzler are all doing better than Ange, and they all spent less. And all of those managers, except for Unai, have only been in this league for 2-3 months. At what point do we point the finger and say, this manager is taking the piss? And he sat there earlier on this week saying, I knew what I was walking into. I know the history of Tottenham. I know what they call us. I know how it works here. It's on me. I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't understand it. It's on me. This is me. Well, that's got to be on you then, man. That has to be on you. That these stats have to be on you. We've defended managers so many times on this channel. Like this channel was relentless in defending Conte. We defended Jose. We defended Poch. None of them came out and said this. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me. Where are you at, guys, in terms of at what point does this fan base say this is absolute bullshit? We're being fed absolute lies.
Problem is, though, is that too many people are just happy we're playing, I'm going to use in quotation marks, attacking football compared to last season. So the response you'll get is this football is better than Conte, or this football is better than Jose, which was, bear in mind, 2-3 years ago with Jose. So whatever we say, it's just be battered back because we won't be playing the Tottenham way if we play like we've done the Conte or something or Jose. So, and the problem is the expectation's been dropped so much, partly because of the reason I just said, that most of our fan base won't be like us already. I just hate to put it that way, but in my opinion, I want to see effective football, whether that's attacking, defending, counter-attacking, whatever, with like some balanced play. But when I watch us play, we're just an absolute mess. Like every game, we're an absolute mess. And today was just shit. I'm sorry. Like I actually kind of think in some ways it was coming because if you actually watch the midweek game like properly, I thought we were crap on Thursday. And it's only because we got a penalty that we won the game. And I just think the same thing happened on today. And it was just, we didn't scrape a penalty and we lost the game 1-0 and Palace could have scored 3 or 4. So easy 4-0.
The other guys, but Dan, we're talking about a Crystal Palace team that haven't won a game all season. They were in the relegation zone prior to this match. I predicted 3-1 on the basis that they don't score goals. They're rubbish in front of goal. And they proved it today. They proved today in front of goal they are trash. They proved it. They had so many chances to make it 3-4, 5-0. But to not score a goal and not create hardly anything as Tottenham Hotspur, having spent £400 million playing front-footed attacking football. Is this purely on the manager, Dan? Or is it on the signings that he's brought into this club who are simply overhyped by so many fans and journalists and YouTubers? Have we overhyped these players?
For me, it's everything. And I'll start with Ange's last talk he done, basically significant talk. Now, what he done, I liked it. I like that from a manager. I like a manager that's got the front to do it. I like a manager that's got confidence. I like a man that can actually sit there and say, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to get this done, whatever else. But then I also would expect a person, okay, he doesn't have to say it as such, but to show it on the pitch, that he also accepts that his way ain't the way to do it all the time and adapts to certain games, adapts to certain situations. And we've only seen him do it a couple of times since he's been at the club. And the other problem is, so many people started bigging up what he said. Yeah, there's a real man for you. And I said on a WhatsApp chat that, yeah, I liked it as well. But with all the bullshit he's come out with as well and contradicted himself, I can't take my man serious. With all the times that he's given us that little bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel and he's actually seeing a few things. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Every bloody time. And with that, he was the one who's also said that he chooses the players. And people have gone on us for ages because we keep repeating it. We're only saying what our star manager said. He's then gone and said the other stuff he does. He's then gone and blatantly said about pretty much he don't care about defence. He's then gone and blatantly said on there about how he didn't want to make subs to win or whatever it was he said. And then he goes and basically says, I knew everything I was getting in for. I knew how this club was run. I knew how we done it. I knew what we haven't done. I knew the whole lot. It's on me. Well, it's on you now, mate. And Levy must be absolutely loving it because it's just taken any sort of pressure off of Levy, apart from people who could blatantly see the problem is at the top, but it's still taking the pressure off of him.
Yeah.
And he's just not getting it right. I mean, what do they say? First time, we all make mistakes. Second time, get your act together. Third time, you're an idiot. If you keep making that same mistake over and over again, it's your choice because you should have learned. And he just doesn't seem to be learning. Like I said, he gives us a chance here or there where you think, okay, but I'm still Ange out. He's done nothing to change my mind. Good result against West Ham, but now that's irrelevant to me because we just got blatantly cooked by bloody Palace. And what else do you want to say? Don't worry. Dr. Tottenham come and sorted out the day for us.
Dan, do you think that it's even worse than what you said? In the sense that I'm not going to go over the contradicting thing. I've said that about 1 billion times before.
Yeah.
But what is really evident for me is when you look at the makeup of the team from the first few games that he came to Tottenham as a manager, then you look at the team now, aside from a couple of players, it's effectively the same team. And they're playing almost the same way as what they did back then. I mean, is that not like supremely daft from a basic football level? Like, why are your team the same? Like, why are they still playing the same from like almost a season and a half ago until
Exactly.
now? I thought we were meant to have developed.
He's had plenty of time to get that team to work and also money and also players in to, you'd expect to at least get it 3/4 working the way he wants it, yeah? And plenty of time. He's also picked the players that come in. He's got the players that he wanted. He didn't want Eze. Clear as day, he said that. Didn't want that.
Oh.
And with that, Eze just came on today and proved why we should have bloody got him. And it is down to the fact that I just honestly think that where he has no plan B, no nothing else, it shows. And the players that he's bought are bang average or not good enough to play in the Premiership. Solanke, people were saying we need a goal scorer out and out. Like you said earlier on, Stel, on Savage Show. We go and get Solanke. He's not scoring goals regular. And people are saying, no, he's not there for that. He's there to be what I said, his target man so the other two can come in. Well, hang on a minute. Everyone was saying we need a bloody striker to put it in the back of the net better than Son could. Well, make your mind up. What are we actually doing? How wide do you want to put the goalposts? How many excuses do you want to give people? I just think this team he's got, in general, is an okay team. It's an all right team. I think it could fight for top four if you play it the right way. But again, he just doesn't seem to want to adapt to anything on a consistent basis. And if he's picked the players and spent 400 million, who else's head can it be on?
Absolutely. Guys, I'm just going to do a couple of super chats. I'm going to bring in Alex and then we'll get into the game itself. And we are going to discuss the players because there's a lot that I would like to discuss as well on that. But very quickly, we've got William Leone. Thank you as always. Channel member puts the super chat in saying complete and utter shite. Ange out, Levy out. I agree. A user, big up to you, always puts in super chat, says everyone was shite. When there's an opportunity to close the points gap on teams who drop points around us, we always screw it up every time. And he's talking about the fact that Villa drop points, Brighton drop points, and what do we go and do? We drop all the points. I say sell the damn team. I'm pretty much on board with most of that. EdX, thank you, bro. He says, we will win no cups and finish 9th or 10th in the league table with Ange. Thanks for telling the truth. Tottenham away. Bro, we will always speak our truth. If you agree, brilliant. A user, again, thank you so much. He says, when I saw the team play in the first 15 minutes, I knew. You kind of do get that with Spurs. You can tell if we're going to have one of those games early on. I totally understand what you mean. Before I come to Alex, I just want to do one very positive thing. That's right, we do positivity on Tottenham Way. I want to salute an absolute god that used to wear a kit like this. Happy birthday to the man, the myth, the legend, Glenn Hoddle, an absolute professional football player, one of the best we've ever had at the club. Won trophies, won silverware. They say he was years ahead of his time. Look, happy birthday to Glenn Hoddle. What we would do to have a player like you, I tell you what, absolute brilliant footballer. Happy birthday to Glenn Hoddle. Alex, you cracked me up. You put a video out calling it shambles and you had a big smiley face on your thumbnail. So were you enjoying that or were you taking the mick?
No, I wasn't. Listen, I'm like that guy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name, Saeed, that used to be on his channel. The guy that was sitting next to him in the watch-along, you know, the Man United fan, the Big Six.
Oh, Saeed. Yeah, Saeed, Man United. Yeah.
Whatever that channel is, because Mr. Box Office is not on it, so I'm not interested. The point is, is that he was sitting with his friend, and Man United scored a goal. And he's going mad at the TV, and his friend's just eating food. That's just me, because it's not like I've seen it before. One thing I will say, just to get onto the game, I have to say this: everything I said again was true. Like I said, Kulusevski, where was he today? Oh yeah, nowhere. The midfield. Oh, this is why I said I want Højbjerg back in my midfield. Proved it today again, and the Argentinian Tom Carroll, Lo Celso. When I'm saying this, we didn't improve in that midfield. I didn't see Archie Gray though, didn't I? Come on again, innit? And the player that we did get, Eze, played absolutely fantastic, and another player that played really well. That's actually now showing me what the hype was all about him. Walton. I said on Mr. Bots Off TV, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I've got to be honest. That shows that reject Bentacle how to play in midfield and Basuma. Honestly, I've never seen such a great performance, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? He's passing the ball left to right, brilliant. Tackle back. Even that Lemar player, whatever his name is.
Lerner.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Ban it on our midfield to pieces, and that's it. Mikey Moore wasn't great. No, the thing that concerned me about Mikey Moore today, right? The thing that got him into the team, right? The thing that actually got him into the team, he wasn't doing. So again, it goes back to the manager that everyone is telling me that I need to like. I told you about that. I wasn't going to get on board with. He's doing the same thing that he did that every single player was doing on that left hand side. So the thing that actually got him into the team, dribbling past players, he wasn't doing. So who's that on? It's got to be the manager, and that's it. And that's what I need to say. And the people that I need to start talking to, right? that say to us that, oh, we're going over the top and everything else. Well, Mr. Box Office was telling you this from day dot. Yeah? Telling you this from the start of the season. So it's not over the top. I'm not having a meltdown. Trust me, I'm going on the beach soon, so don't worry about that. I'll be relaxing, drinking my water, and that's it. And all you lot start telling me that I still need to be patient, and that's it. I'll just laugh in your face, and that's it. Back to you, Celios. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know. I've only got started.
Only water? Shouldn't you have a beer on there or something?
But I don't drink. You know what I mean?
Oh, mate.
I don't
Oh,
drink.
well.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine Alex drinking? Oh my gosh. It'd be fireworks.
Maybe you should start with a Foster's, mate. They're a bit more tame.
I don't think. I think just to respond to a little bit of what Alex said, I don't think that you can really blame Marky Moore for anything today. I mean, that whole team was, you know, he didn't really do anything wrong. He didn't do anything great.
I'm not blaming, bro. It's not me blaming Mikey Moore. The problem is we had no choice to play Mikey Moore. We had no choice.
I agree.
Because we put ourselves in that position.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't Overberg back?
This is the difference. This is the difference.
Do you know?
Right? If we had somebody more established in the team than Timo Werner, because the reason why people started saying it was good to sign in Timo Werner, we're not blocking the path to Mikey Moore because our English quote is so bad, right? It's so bad. We need Mikey Moore in the team now. That's how bad it is at the moment. So I'm not blaming this problem was always going to happen because the thing is, though, we put him in that position. And then people are saying, oh, he's only 17. Well, we knew this already in the summer. So this nonsense that Tottenham fans saying we're putting pressure on him, it's not our fault that you brought in not good enough for people in above him. So we don't need to worry about Mikey Moore because we don't need to put him in the squad. Because when you're putting somebody in the squad, they're good enough for the team, and that's it. And that's what I'm saying. But Alex,
you know it's actually down to Ange because Ange is the one telling us.
Well, bro, I've said it already, bro. Bro, you know my channel, Mr. Box Office TV.
I watched your video.
You know what I'm like with Ange Postecoglou. I'm not on board. I've never been on board. I've never listened to the naysayers. That's what I'm saying.
I think Ange has assembled one of the worst Tottenham teams I've seen for the money spent in the league.
Yeah,
I really believe that. That's what I mean. I'm quoting for the money he spent. It's one of the worst squads I've seen. I mean, when you look at the midfield, which one of those are his actual players that actually are playing? Maddison is the only one. Basuma was before him. Bentancur was before him. Kulu was before him.
But he sold Højbjerg and Skip though,
and he sold Højbjerg and Skip exactly right. Yeah. And I don't count Kulu as
and Eric Dyer
and Postecoglou signing because he was loaned before and all that sort of stuff, right? And when you look at what he's assembled for a front line, I couldn't believe my eyes today. Solanke,
awful Solanke,
Richarlison, and Timo.
No, he wasn't, Alex. No, he wasn't.
He was awful today, Solanke.
No, he wasn't.
Absolutely awful.
No, he wasn't.
Absolutely awful today.
Terrible.
He was terrible. He was absolutely awful. He was awful. I made him look like mincemeat. He was made to look like mincemeat. He was awful. Absolutely awful. Sorry, Theo.
Anyway, my point. But my point.
1 minute. We're going to come on to Solanke. We'll come on to Solanke.
Yeah, but my point is that when you see, for me, all right, when you see that front three that he's assembled with the money spent, you think, wow, that is just terrible. Absolutely.
And two of the players he signed, Solomon, Veliz, lasted one season.
Yeah.
They came in, did nothing. All right, Solomon got injured. He gets a pass, but he wasn't good enough to then stay on and help us. He got shipped out.
Why I don't like backups? Why I do not like backups?
By the way, I don't know if you watch Spanish football.
Still. How's Werner still here? I just don't understand it.
Hasper, that was the DEFCON 1 moment. That's when I checked out with Ange. That second time he signed him, I checked out. I knew what was coming. The Veliz, I don't know if anyone watches La Liga. Veliz for Espanyol is doing nothing. He's doing nothing out there. Like, he's not good. So you do got to question Ange's signings. Let's get on to the game because it's good to also discuss the moments of the game. And there's a lot of players I would like us to talk about. So the starting 11, as we all know, is the same back four every single week. Basuma, Madison, Kulu with the midfield free. So no Sarr in the midfield. No Archie Gray, who Ian says is a number 6. And then we went with Johnson, Solanke, and Mikey Moore. And I think pretty much everyone was delighted to see Mikey Moore start, Mikey Moore have a crack, and Werner to not start. Odebert wasn't in the squad. Apparently he's injured. So that's why he wasn't in the team.
Didn't he just come back?
Apparently picked up a knock midweek. So
For 8 minutes? He picked up what?
That's what I've been told. So he wasn't in the squad. So we went with Mikey Moore, which I think we were all happy with. Let him have a go. At half time, it wasn't the best of reading. We were 1-0 down. We had 1 shot on target. They had 3. Their XG was higher. Touches in the opposition box was almost even. And again, we were dominating possession. And we're using possession as an excuse now to defend poor results. As long as the possession's good, don't worry about the results. Well, it's a results business. At full time, it got worse. Shots on target, they had 6, we had 3. Touches in the opposition box was pretty similar. Expected goals, they were expected to score more than us, although it wasn't significantly different. And they dominated the possession. We had 14 shots, they had 11. We had 6 on they had 6 on target, we had 3. Off target, they had 7, we had 4. Passes, we had double, which makes sense because we had more possession. Clear-cut chances, we actually had more than them. I don't remember the clear-cut chances. Corners was equal. So the stats will say it was actually fairly balanced, but they had a lot more shots, which they missed, as we know. I think for me, guys, there's 3 things that stood out for me more than anything in this game. One, it turned out to be one of those physical battles, scrappy, proper Premier League games where one team's better than the other on paper, so the other team rough you up and let's see what you got. And that did not suit our squad. It didn't suit players like Maddison. It didn't suit our front line. Players like Johnson definitely didn't suit Mikey Moore. And I think that's why Mikey Moore probably, this wasn't maybe, having seen how the game played, the best game for him to get to showcase what he's about. 17 years old, being thrown into a physical battle, war type game. But we didn't know how the game would go. That's the first thing. The second thing, all right, you have a bad half. It happens. To not make any subs at half time when we are getting shat on, to not change it at that point, I don't understand this manager. I don't. That was the second point. And the third point, when you do make changes, you take off the 2 creative players in a moment when you need to create a goal. How can you take off? I get Kulu. He was on a yellow. You're thinking, I don't want him to get a red. I kind of understand it. Madison, he takes him off. And he brings on Pape Sarr and turbo shit-faced Werner. What are we doing, people? On what planet does anyone defend that? This manager's out of his depth.
I guess.
Well, Bergvall doesn't get a look in. Archie Gray doesn't get a look in. Richarlison came on, but you got 125 million pounds of donkeys up front. Richarlison don't score. Solanke don't score. And even if you are going to play Solanke and Richarlison, fine. What is one thing they're both quite good at? They bring an aerial threat. So either go wide and put crosses in. Well, Werner's not going to do that. Johnson stank the place out. By the way, Johnson's been stinking it for 3 weeks. Purple patch over, back to reality.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're thinking, right, it's the 85th minute. It's the 90th minute. There's still time to nick something. Send it long. Try and throw it into the mixer. Throw the kitchen sink in it. Send the goalie up. It's the 92nd minute. And we're playing tiki-taka. We're playing it out from the back. And they're pressing us. Guys,
this is why it's down to Ange, though, because what I don't get is that,
deluded.
like you said, we have 2 tall players up there, or 4-4-2. Instead of being direct and play the ball long, I mean, Solanke's meant to be this hold-up player anyway, supposedly. We weren't even playing it long when we had him just on his own. We play it fucking around the back. I don't even know what we were even doing. It's like they think that we're already winning. And our manager, this is what fucks me off the most. He stands there, with his hand in his pockets, not for 90 minutes, doing nothing. And I say this every week. I feel like he's the most uninspiring manager I've ever seen at Tottenham, apart from maybe Nuno. I don't know. It was quite close. But like, if I was a player watching, like, and he was my manager, I wouldn't want to play for him because I have no, like, especially with these younger players here, they got no direction. There's no actual captain on the pitch, really. In reality, there's no real big senior player that you look at and you think, oh, he's the guy who's going to tell me what to do, let's say. So then it comes down to the manager, and the manager's not giving any sort of instruction. He just stands there, just fuck all. Like,
well, the captain on the day's Romero, and he's at the back having a stinker with Van der Ven. Because the defense is so disorganized, it's so not coached. Again, I've been banging on about this every week. We are not coaching that defense to defend. There's no structural rigidness to that defense. I don't think they know what they're supposed to be doing. We'll get into it, but do you know what?
just,
I think
I
you make
just
a good
watch him and I'm
point.
just like,
He just
fucking do
stands there
something.
watching
You're
it
standing there
collapse.
with your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
And he
Well,
does
guys,
it
what did you
more
make of it?
often.
You know, half time, no changes, taking Kulu and Maddison off, not playing to the strengths of the two strikers who aren't that great, but they've got some strengths, not playing to their strengths.
Understand waiting to 60 minutes. That's what I presume a player would usually do. That's what I would usually do, unless someone has just been that much of a shambles that they got to come off in 20 minutes or like half time sort of thing. But 60 minutes, made the subs, no problem with the timing to do the subs. I think 60 minutes is usually a good time to do it. But the subs he made today, I mean, okay, take Kulu off or take Maddison off. But he takes them both off and then goes and puts on Werner and Richie and also puts on Sarr when he took more off as well. And you're like, where the hell is that going to go? What are they actually trying to do now? Now, if anything, no, it weren't going right for Mikey Moore. Take him off. I'd have personally gone and put, if I'm now going to go all out attack because it ain't working, I'm going to go and put Maddison up on the left because he can at least cross a ball in where we can then take advantage of Richarlison and Solanke up there who can both actually get up in the air and head a ball and he can actually cross a ball. I mean, Porro saw nothing of him today whatsoever, really. Same as the rest of them. And how are you going to get any more, put any more pressure up front when you've got no real creator on there now, maybe apart from Porro from the back, and unless Van der Ven wants to run it from the back to the front sort of thing. And you've now got Solanke, Richarlison, Johnson, and Werner up there. You'd expect some crosses to come in, or even if he just started playing old school, just kick it over the top and try it. But like you said, we was tiptoeing it out from the back. And not one of that lot you feel threatening in front of goal. And yeah, I'll give Johnson another couple of games and then I'll make my point with him. Patchy, he's had a very good patch. Now all of a sudden, serious game. Where is my quality player? He evaporates. Where is Kulu, the world-class player? Who else they still say significantly better in the middle, but where did he go? He's meant to be our world-class midfielder, best one in Europe at the moment. Totally disappeared. This is where the quality players, the good players, are meant to take control of the game. Eze, first 20 minutes, it was quite an even game, I'd say. And just from about 20, 25 minutes, Eze stepped up his gear and bossed that whole game. Everything that happened for Palace basically went through him, bar one or two things. And did any one of our players try and say, bollocks, I'm going to try and take control of this? No. They all just basically put their heads down. Where's the manager now when we need him to do a bit of shouting and need him to put a bit of pressure on the pitch? Where's our captain screaming and shouting? This all happens when we're winning a game, like against West Ham. Like you'll see Son or Maddison or Romero, whoever's captain, doing their job. But then as soon as it seems to come that we got a bit of pressure on us, everything disappears. No one ever wants to take control.
Do you know what I don't understand, okay? When I did my coaching badges, I met some brilliant coaches along the way, far better than anything I would ever become, okay? And they'd teach you stuff. And in that game, there's two things I would have done that I've been taught. Nothing that I came up with on my own, but things that I've learned that I would kind of put in my ammunition locker and then say, right, I'm going to use this tool today. When you've got a player like Eze who's bossing it, put two players on him, double up, nullify him. Nothing. We allowed him to reign through. And when we're trying to play out from the back, and it just on this particular week, it's just not working. And we've got Solanke and Richarlison up front. What I would have done, I would have had 4 players and told them stay on the halfway line, stay right across the halfway line, because what happens then is Crystal Palace aren't going to allow us to have 4 players standing there because they know one ball over, they've got 4 attackers, so they'll pull back 4 players themselves. So now you've forced them to push 4 players back. It takes a bit of balls to do it, but I was taught stuff like this, and I've seen coaches do it. Pull them back. Don't allow them to press. Put your players high up. Tell them to stand there, and you watch. No team will take that gamble of that one ball over the top. Well, we take that gamble, and so do a few other teams, but they won't do it because Glasner had them deep. It's things like that. I just want to see something different from the manager to try and get out of the situation that you can see is happening. But he didn't do anything other than go 4-4-2, which he didn't even play to the strengths of a 4-4-2. He played the same 4-3-3 method of moving the ball but with a different bank of players. And I'm thinking, this is daft. It doesn't add up.
The bit that really got me today, one thing as the one that really pissed me right off is when Eze got the ball up front, just to the edge of the box, and stood there for nearly 15 seconds, just staring at the player who was in front of him. I can't remember who it was, and just basically putting his foot over the ball. Nothing. Nearly 15 seconds. No one else just thought, bollocks, I'm going to come in and try and tackle him. No one else moved. He just stood there looking at him, and then he just took it round him and passed it to the side. No one there where he was obviously looking at to pass it. Other player, I don't know if it was Maddison or I'm not sure who was in front of him, absolutely just does nothing or makes no attempt. Nearly 15 seconds he stood there just putting his foot over the ball, just looking at the player. Nothing. And we done nothing. And that was, I might sound silly, but that was one bit that really pissed me off. The fact that no one from the side, even like Romero, just thought, you know what? I'm just going to take the ball or try to do it.
My thoughts on the tactics and the players are this: the inverted fullback situation. I think that causes 3 things. One, it fatigues those fullbacks early on, especially if the team's putting us under pressure or they become physical. 2, it imbalances the team because the inverted fullbacks get into our forward players' positions, right? And it also then compromises the 2 defenders because they're easily caught out by a ball over the top or a through pass or something of that nature. And 3, confuses those fullbacks because in some scenarios you can almost see, like when we're playing out from the back, they're almost confused about where they need to be on the pitch, which then causes Romero and VDV to almost have to play weird passes sometimes to get the ball out of our defense and beat the opposition's press. The midfield structure, I think, is just beyond weird for me. You got Basuma, who's literally just strolling around the pitch. He's meant to be he's playing as a number 6 today, and I didn't see him putting amazing tackles. He beat he was a bit press resistant in some occasions, but really sloppy in others and making dodgy passing. Our passing in the midfield was absolutely atrocious today. Kulu he was just poor today. He seemed to me that he just got out muscled and out dominated in the central part of the midfield. And Maddison, I've been saying this for almost a year and a season and a half now. He's just not the player that I think Tottenham need. Tottenham need a Modric, an Eriksen, almost a Dembele, like that's. And what I mean by that, I know there's 3 different types of players there, but someone who can grab the ball and just dictate play and calm things down and knock it around.
Can I ask you a question on this?
Yeah.
Wait, Maz, can I ask you a question on this? I want to ask you a question on this. Okay.
Yeah.
James Maddison if you look at the data of the top midfielders in the Premier League, the top 10 right now, the only Spurs player in that top 10 is Maddison. If you look at last week against West Ham, he created more chances than any other midfielder in the Premier League, and he only played 45 minutes. My question is this. Is Maddison not what you are hoping for? Or is the poor front three, including subs, not working with him? Because when we had Eriksen and Modric, just think of the forward line we had when those played.
Yeah, I agree.
Lennon, Bale.
If we had
I
Frank
think it's a
Dunn
combination of
and a
everything
Dele
you
Alli,
said.
is Madison now going to be the player we want, or is it because he's got Solanke?
I think it's a little bit of everything you
Burners.
said. Yeah, still, I think it's a little bit of everything you said. But what I'm looking for from Maddison is, rather than having that petulant side of him when things aren't going his way, he's rolling around on the floor, he's whinging at other players, he's whinging at the referee, to actually grab the game by the scruff of the neck and actually stamp his quality and dictate the play. And I just don't think he does that. For me, I don't think he does that. And I think his stats, you said he's in the top 10. Well, there's 20 teams in the league, right? One of them is Tottenham. So what if he's in the top 10? If he's in the top 5 or top 3 or top 4, then fine. We're vying for that top 4 position or top 5 position. If he's just in the top 10 of all the rest of the playmakers in the league, what does that mean? It just means that.
Just so you know, 4 Man City players are in the top 10. Just so you know.
Right. Well,
Mays.
Fine. I understand, but another thing as well is that I think a lot of these stats come against teams where we've blown them away and they've been really bad. Whereas against the really good teams, our players aren't putting up those kinds of stats. So I think
That's
as
true.
the season
No, that's
plays
true.
out,
That's a good point.
We're going to see those stats equalise, right?
That's
One
a
of
fair
the
point.
One of the problems with Maddison is something Dietrich's mentioned to me, and I was chatting with him about this, like literally, I'm talking like 9 months ago, basically. Whereas he mentioned it first, and I totally agree with him. Maddison he's a good playmaker. He can place that ball. He could be better if he didn't just want to make everything look good. At times, it's like he almost has to think about it too much. Or is it that he doesn't have to think about it that much, but he just wants it to look good? It seems like he'll take that extra touch that he doesn't need to, or even extra 3 touches he doesn't need to make the pass look good. It hasn't always got to look good. Sometimes you just got to be direct. And a direct ball that don't look as pretty as something spun off your outside of your foot or whatever does the job and looks just as good when it goes in the back of the net. Yeah. He tiptoes about too much with a ball. He takes too much time on it. There's been many a time he's got the ball where Eriksen, who done some outstanding passes and then also some very simple passes, but still cut another team open. It's like he already knew what he was going to do before he done it. Maddison seems to need to take the time to know what he's going to do. It's not that he can't do it. He's got the skill. But I think his mentality is a bit slower compared to some of the other playmakers that we see, like Eriksen. He already knew what was coming when the ball was coming down to him. He'd already assessed what was going on and had an idea what he wanted to do.
I think
whether the pass was right or wrong. He's not direct at all.
Dan, I think you've literally just hit the nail on the head there. I think his football intelligence, i.e. his reading of the game, compared to an Eriksen, a Modric type player, is just not there. He, like you said, he needs to get the ball, look up, figure out what he needs to do. Whereas those other players knew what they needed to do before the ball came to them.
Whether it went right or wrong, wouldn't it? They knew what they was going to do. If it goes right, it goes right.
Dan.
Whereas
I think you've hit the nail on the head for what I feel about Maddison. I just think he's missing that reading of the game, which is what you're leading.
He's got the skill for it. No 2 ways about it. He has got the skill for it. He's not a poor player and he's not poorly gifted, not at all.
I agree.
But a good playmaker, you need to play it like a game of chess. You need to almost know what you're going to do by the time it comes down. And like I said, I'll repeat it again, with Eriksen, he used to get the ball and very barely did he even look up or look for more than a split second. It was literally, it came down and it was like, right, I'm hoping he's going to come in there. That's what I'm going to do. And when it worked, it worked. When it didn't, he just said bollocks, and then he done it again and again and again. He always knew what he wanted before the ball hit his feet, 9 times out of 10. Maddison
Guys,
whilst we're going in on Maddison, right, though, can I just say today,
and I'm going to defend Maddison a bit here. I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but I do want to defend him a bit. Kulu did nothing. Bentancur did nothing. Basuma did nothing. Basuma was actually okay, but none of them as a midfield got a foot on the ball and controlled it. None of them got their foot on the ball and said, right, I'm going to slow this game down or I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to get this sorted out. Not one midfielder. So I get what we're saying about Maddison. But what midfielder did do anything good today for us?
Yeah, but still, I could apply this to everyone.
Say something? Can I just say something here? You're now saying what I've just been saying the last how many weeks now? You've been just saying this was what I've been saying the last few weeks. It's funny now. People started. I was just going to let you talk. I was just because Ian needs to speak. He needs to have his time to shine. The point is, yeah, and has as well. You know what I mean? But I just when you said that, I was like, well, what have I been saying the last few weeks? What have I been saying the last few weeks? Like last happened, there's no composure in the team. But but we've been going over the top. We're having a meltdown. You know what I mean? What I've been saying again, I'm repeating myself again. It seems to be repeat again. Why I want Højbjerg and Lo Celso back in my midfield, which is embarrassing, by the way. Again, it's embarrassing because again, it's like.
Yeah, but Alex, are they the answer? Are they really the answer?
No, they're not the answer. The point is that we didn't get players sort of better than them to bloody compete with the midfields we got. They were inconsistent. That's the bloody point. We got bloody youngsters in the team who don't even trust to put them in games when we're struggling. That's the bloody point. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I don't really care what anybody says. None of that midfield played well. None of that midfield played well because they got bantered. But I don't even know why people are not even talking about it. Walton and bloody Eze. It was about Walton and Eze. That's what they were talking about.
We haven't got that far yet, mate. Eze, I said earlier, Eze took control of the game after 20 minutes. He did. Not one of our players even attempted to do that.
What's the point? Because they've got no composure, bro. And Walton literally made them look like amateurs, most of them.
I was about to ask about Walton. I've been raving about him before the England squad was picked, saying he could potentially be a player for the England squad. So forgetting Tottenham for that point. How well did he play today? Because bearing in mind it weren't on TV today, and I'm also a darts fan, so I was kind of watching the darts. So how well did Walton play?
The darts were much better.
By the way, Yido, Richie Edhouse, won his first ever major tonight, 120 grand in the bank. Tottenham fan, ranked 39 in the world, won his first ever major tonight. So up the Yidos. But yeah.
at least someone's winning a trophy.
Yes, a little bit of success. But he came off the stage thinking, bloody Ange. No, but seriously, how well did Walton play today? Because he's a player that I've been tracking and thinking he's the kind of player that we need.
Well, David, you know me, yeah? You know me, yeah? I don't just give it out easily saying that someone's fantastic. I watched this guy absolutely banter the midfield. I was sitting there thinking, what am I watching here? What am I watching here? You know what I mean? He literally, he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. Passing the ball from left to right. He made one pass that was... which I think it just didn't. I think the striker missed a chance. I think it was, but he was everywhere, and it was just a brilliant performance from him. To be honest with you, he was one of the stars. For me, he was the man of the match. For me,
can I ask you guys? Let me get James in and Ian and has a bit more. Like I said, the first half was the first half. It was crap. You know, it was also a little bit. It was a tight game as well. You'd say, okay, Palace just edged it. Fair enough. Okay. That second half, though, was a shocker. Because I went on Sav's show at half time and I was saying, you know, I was trying to defend myself from the criticism I got before the game started when I called out Solanke for not scoring goals, right? And I went on there saying, look, tell me, where are the goals from this guy? And I used the young lad at Brighton as an example who yesterday, Ferguson, receives the ball, creates some space for himself, edge of the box, bang, bottom corner. I never see that from any of our strikers, right? So I was defending myself at halftime on Sav's show about Solanke. And then I said, I still think we're going to win this game because I think we'll make the changes. And then Spurs, typically, I've seen a lot this season, not all the time, but often, the first kind of 15, 20 minutes of second half, we really go at teams. I thought we'll go at Crystal Palace. We just got worse and worse. and he didn't make any changes either. So I want to know, Ian, James, do you think Ange should have made changes at half time? And if he did, do you think that would have changed anything at all, or it didn't matter? This was just awful left, right, and centre.
I'll tell you how I saw the first half. First 15, 20 minutes, I thought was fairly even Stevens. I think having a chat with 2 or 3 of the guys who I was sitting with, I was on my own, so they didn't know anybody. So it was just like random fans. The guy that was sat next to me had went to Ferencváros. You know, he's a hardcore Spurs fan. And I think we put ourselves in trouble with the way we played. Palace weren't particularly good. They were lacking in confidence first 20 minutes before Eze got on the ball. And we should have gone in and hit them with everything first 20. We play out from the back. You've got someone like Solanke, who when you hit him with passes, the ball sticks. And he holds it up and he gives it off. And he got scraps today. He got scrapped. He was the best of a bad bunch today for me. But he got
knocked off the ball several times, Ian. I see him have the ball and go forward with it, and a player half the size of him nudged him, and he nearly fell over the ball.
I thought the referee was poor as well today. He was awful. But
yeah, he should have sent Van der Ven off.
He probably should have done. We put ourselves in trouble first half, didn't we? By, you know, it was ridiculous playing out from the back instead of hitting it long to Solanke or hitting it into the channels, putting the ball in for Johnson to run onto, and we put ourselves in trouble. They played the press, and they closed us down. And you got ridiculous things like Romero trying to play a Hoddle-type pass to Van der Ven across his box, which Mickey let slip, and the ball finished up in the back of the net. But what a backflip from Eze. Absolutely superb. And you're right, and if it hadn't have been for Vicario, it would have been 3-0.
Can I just tell you, Ian, because you said, right, Solanke fed off scraps, right? This was Solanke today. He played the whole game. Expected goals, not even 0.0, below 0.05. Expected assists, even lower. Shots on target, 0. Attempted successful dribbles. He got 2 successful dribbles out of 6, so a 66% failure rate. Accurate passes, 55%. That is very low for a team that had the possession that we did.
That's low for him.
Successful crosses, 0. Ground duels 1, 5 out of 14. Possession lost 18 times. That is 5 worse than the last game, and I criticised him. He had a poor game if we look at the metrics.
I think he was very well marshalled. I thought the 2 centre-backs for Palace were superb today. Absolutely superb. And the service, I mean, apart from a few balls into the box that Werner was hitting late on, there was just nothing coming. Nothing. We created nothing. The whole thing was a shit show. Literally from start to finish. All we had was that...
But Ian, hold on. My question was about half-time. Do you think Ange should have made changes at half-time? And do you feel, even if he did, would that have changed the flow of the game? Because he waited until the 60th minute before he did anything.
Who would you have taken off at half-time?
Well, I said Kulu or Maddison. I would have said I would have taken Kulu or Maddison off, not both. I said that on Savage Show at half-time. I said bring on Richie because at least he'll fight, and this game is a fight. Mm-hmm. And I said maybe bring on Pape Sarr because he's got an engine on him, and we need someone that's going to be a bit of a workhorse. Do I think that would have won us the game? Probably not, because the tactics still stink. But I think that would have given us a little bit more fight in the game. But it doesn't matter.
Bring on Richie. Still, bring on Richie to give us more fight. I mean, when was the last time Richie actually done that? Seriously, name me the game.
No, Maz, he does. He does. Richie, I'm not saying he's good.
He's a shithousery player, isn't he? He's shithousery.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
But he does actually give it 110%. You can't take that away from the man. I'm not saying he's good.
When has his shithousery actually worked?
Well,
seeing as no
I'm
one
basing it on the fact
doing anything.
Maz, look at the options we had on the bench, right? This is the problem we had. On the bench, we had Ben Davies, Dragusin, Archie Gray, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Turbo Wiener and Richarlison. Where's your game changer in a game that's a physical, dogged, fighty, pulling, shoving, tackly type of game?
No, yeah, that's a different question. But if we're gonna just base bringing on Richie,
it's the same question.
we should have kept Lamella. Lamella was a billion times better than Richie for sure.
Thank you for bringing up Lamella. Thank you very much. Because if we're going to start saying that Richarlison should be in the team, because should be given praise because he works hard.
Oh, wait, guys, no. This is 1 minute. It's going off on a tangent. I'm talking about today's game. We're 1-0 down at half time in a game that we're losing a physical battle. Do I want Richarlison at the club? No. Do I think he's good? No. I don't like him as a player one bit. The question is, you asked me, who would you bring on? Well, I can only go by what we've got. So out of those players, who would you brought on to try and change this game?
Problem is, though, is the tactics didn't change. Even when he made changes later on, we still saw the same inverted fullbacks, the same non-directness, the same faffing around. I'm not saying your changes are right. Like I probably would have brought in Richarlison and Sarfis, so like Kulusevski or Maddison or someone else. Go 4-4-2 from then. But
this is what else is said. Would it have made a difference, even if we did make
the same tactics? No, because I think he would have just played the same way. We're judging on the evidence we saw. I think his biggest problem was the midfield, because I thought he would have learned his lesson from West Ham, because in the West Ham game it was a similar sort of fighting sort of game, derby, and he took off Maddison at half time. I know we've been slating Maddison a lot, here. But I don't think he's up for the fight in these games anyway. I wouldn't have started Maddison personally. I would have played something like Sarr and Bentancur and Kulusevski or something like that, or two of those.
But does this not just prove my point though, as what I said earlier has, right? And to everyone, he's assembled one of the worst teams/squads whereby we've literally got no options to bring on that's meaningfully going to change the way the team plays and or the result. Like, we've got no game changers. Like, none. The only thing I can think of this season where he's made the substitution, it's worked, is when he brought on Sarr. I think was it the last game or the game before that?
Yeah, with Sam.
And that could just be a little bit of luck, randomness that happened in the game. Apart from that,
and you wouldn't have that down as Sarr coming on for Maddison to change a game attackingly, would you? You'd think what you're doing bringing on Sarr for Maddison. It worked. Exactly.
Yeah, it worked.
But you wouldn't say it would.
Yeah, precisely, Dave. So I just think this surely we've come to a point now where we've seen enough evidence of how Ange plays, the team is selecting, the tactics, the way that certain players or all of the team don't turn up for certain types of games. That he's just the wrong manager, and for the club, and the squad he's assembled is diabolically average.
Maz, all you need to see watch the performance of Mikey Moore, right, on the Thursday, right, then comes into the team on today, right, and does the same thing that every one of the players was doing on the left. So the thing, like I said before, the thing that he brought him into the team, right, he stopped doing it on today, and that's why he did the same thing. He did the same thing that every other player does. He comes into that left, and then Doji's coming inverted, and he passes it rather than actually take on his man.
Let me say two or three things about Mikey Moore. Firstly, all the guys around me were going mad first half. First few minutes, he was getting the ball early. He went on a couple of runs. They pulled him down. Then all of a sudden, they stopped playing the ball. And when there's no point knocking the ball around, three or four passes too many. You play Mikey Moore. He's got his back to the defender. He's got to give it back. That's a complete waste of time. They were far too late playing the ball to Moore, so that he had the time. He had those extra few seconds and that space to go at the players.
Yeah.
And the other thing I also want to say, just what you mentioned, Alex. He was playing the ball in. He's been told to do that. If Udogie gives him the run, he's been told to give the ball.
Well, you've got to look at the manager then.
The other thing also, Alex, is that you get more time in Europe. that you do in the Premier League.
Yeah, but it's Ian. I see your points. It's not
We're
that I'm
playing
not seeing your points.
Carabag and
but
AZ Alkmaar. It's a bit.
but it's just my point is right when you got a special player. Even I'm saying this now because I saw it and I thought that 15 minutes was superb. Right, Mr. Box Office, me, who's harsh on players, yeah, saying that he's superb, yeah. Right, don't get used to it though. The point is, is that basically, right, he did what he did. Right, all you need to do is get players to be around it so he can do his game, and that's it. But we don't do that. We get him doing the same thing. What's the point? What is the point? So I want other people to speak. Sorry about that.
I think with Ange, for me, he's really started to show. I say when he gets it right, but he gets it wrong more than anything. I honestly do think that if you go and put Ange with, let's say, a smaller team, let's say we go and put him with, I don't know, Nottingham Forest. We've got enough to stay in the Premiership, but he'll get them relegated straight away. Straight away, they'll be going down. You go and put him with a lesser team than us, let's say a team in the bottom 7, bottom 5 sort of thing. He'll get him relegated straight off because they won't have the ability to play his style, but he won't play with the cards he's got. He'll only play with his manner. I'll lay money on it big time that he'd get another team with a lower standard relegated. Easy. Because he hasn't got a clue how to do it any other way but his way.
Dan, let me show this to everyone and bring in James, okay? Because I do want to expand on that. When you look at the league table, here's what I find phenomenal.
I was about to say Forest are above us.
David, it's better than that.
Brighton.
Man United and West Ham, who we laugh at, and their managers and their fans want their managers out. They want Ten Hag out. They want Lopetegui out. Are 2 points off of Spurs. 2 points. Then you look at the teams above us. Nuno, who's been here for 3 minutes at Nottingham Forest, who spent barely any money compared to what Ange has spent. They've lost 1 game all season. We've lost 4. Brighton, who the manager's 31 years old, and it's his first ever season in the Premier League. Chelsea, Maresca's been there, 3 minutes? He's got them playing really good football, beating good teams. They're ahead of us. Unai Emery's blowing everyone away at the moment. When you look at that, how on earth are fans defending what we're seeing from Ange, who's had the biggest budget, bar none, except for Chelsea last season, the blue £1 billion bottle jobs? When you look at the league table, the teams we laugh at, they're right next to us. And the managers above us, they must all be better than Ange then. What's going on here, people? James, what would you make of that? That league table does not look good when you start breaking it down and start analysing it a bit more. We've lost 4 games. 4. That's more than anyone else in the top 10 bar Brentford.
Yeah, there's nothing to say to that, really, is there? There is nothing to say to that. But for me, this one is on Ange. There's nothing you could say to do it. And I know people say, the high line kills us, but I actually think it's the opposite. I've been saying since at the start of the season, it's the opposite. When a team pressure us, that is where I find that we struggle. The moment the team are organised and pressure us, it's game over. I think this is the first Tottenham team that I've ever seen where we don't have any good footballers. I think Maddison you could maybe put in there. I think, but by footballers, I mean like technical gifted. You know, like a technical gifted player. We don't
I know
really
what you
have
mean.
any.
It sounded funny.
I'm laughing because it's true.
I know. But for me,
he's on his way down.
You could see the moment that Ange's system for me today would have worked if you took out Basuma and actually brought in a player that could play football. If we looked with the likes of Locatelli or someone like Barella or someone like if you added him in that game today, we would have beat them comfortably. But the fact that we're trying to pass the ball around the back and you've got Basuma who cannot control the ball and he hasn't got the ability to turn and play forward. I think that's where we lost the game today, and that's what I said in the WhatsApp. Basuma needs to come off and Bentancur on. That's the only kind of.
Yeah, I think Basuma's got the ability, but he's lazy.
No, he doesn't.
Like
he hasn't got a footballing brain. You know, like I mean, when I was growing up, I don't know if they use different phrases now, but it was always like the players that had wing mirrors on, the players that just knew where everybody was. Basuma doesn't have a
James.
clue.
He does.
Basuma
He
gets
does.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He used to do it. Did you watch him play at Brighton then? Did you watch him play at Brighton?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We're talking about a different team. Timo Werner did well at fucking RB Leipzig. Does that mean he did it?
Yeah, but just because he's playing, hang on a sec. But just because he's playing worse, it doesn't mean that he hasn't got it. Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't got it.
Brighton. Okay.
He never did it at Brighton either. He played number 8 role.
Yes, he did. When he played at Brighton,
he played the number 8, not number 6.
Yes, but he played as box to box. He just weren't as good at sitting back, so they used him at getting the ball and going forward.
You're talking about a different thing. I'm not talking about that.
He had the mentality, but he's got the mentality and knows how to run a game. Definitely.
But that's
he controlled Liverpool. He controlled.
But I'm not talking about that, Dan.
Hold on. 1 minute. James, explain what you mean. Like, be specific.
Maybe I misunderstood you.
Right.
I'm a bit confused as well now.
Okay, so I'm going to obviously compare him to like people who are like elite footballers, but like just so you know my drift. Somebody like a Michael Carrick that could receive the ball on back to like facing our goal and already know where it is. So it's like, okay, quick drop the ball off here. I'll move into space, and then you turn the defense into the attack. With our defenders playing into Basuma, he has no spatial awareness of where their attackers are, loses the ball, or then panics and puts a misplaced passing and puts us into trouble. He hasn't got, like the difference between him and Bentancur for me. If Bentancur gets the ball with his back towards goal, he's got the ability to turn and face forward and get us out of trouble. Basuma doesn't have that ability.
Got it. So you're talking about players that can receive the ball on the half turn.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
Got it. I've got it.
He was always a defensive midfield, deep line playmaker at the same time. Basuma was always one who could boss a game completely by get the ball, turn and run with it. Not go and give it to someone, but turn and run with it, and then a little tap to someone who got in front of him. He bossed teams so many a time.
Yeah, but we don't play that football. We can't do that.
I'm about to agree with you because I get what you're saying now. I misunderstood you. And I'm just telling you the difference between them two. You can have Bentancur with his back to the goal as such because he can get the ball, spin it, and pass it. He's done it for years. And he's a better defensive player than Basuma. But Basuma was always good at getting the ball, spinning and running with it. And
the one player
in that way.
The one player who I think wins us that game today. There's one player I actually think wins us that game today, and that's Gio Lo Celso. I think that is the kind of player that today that we needed.
He's a good player. We just never.
I didn't want him to go. To be honest, I think that was Ange's biggest mistake. I didn't want him to go. I think he was the only player in our team that was technically gifted and good enough to read a game and play a pass
What was
forward.
so frustrating with the Lo Celso situation, and I got really fed up with him constantly getting injured, and I just wanted him to go because he's constantly injured. But when he was fit and when he did. Have a run of games. He played 2 games, he scored 2 goals, he played really well. What does Ange do? Drop him. Doesn't play him when he's fit and leaves him on the bench. Then he gets injured, then we never see him again. And then when he comes back and he's fit and he plays and he has a couple of cameos and he looks decent, what does Ange do? Drops him. You never see him again, then he gets injured again. And it's just like...
I don't disagree with the fault around it, but he was only ever injured for Tottenham. He was never injured for Argentina.
I think he just didn't want to play for us.
But David, the point I've been making, right? Like
there was a player in there.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, we didn't get anybody better than him, and now we're looking at it and thinking, well, I'd rather have those players back. So what is that saying about my midfield right now?
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Gio Lo Celso is world class. I'm saying that Gio Lo Celso is better than Basuma.
Exactly. It says a lot, doesn't it? It says a lot, doesn't it?
It depends what you want them to do. 2 different players there. Lo Celso and Basuma, 2 total different players.
I get we question the midfield, right? But I feel the defense are getting away with murder here, right? And I want to show you guys something.
I agree.
Let's have a chat about this. They've been overhyped and they've not been coached. Again, every week I like to look at the goals we concede and break down the goal, and I'm seeing the same problems. Yes, Maz.
Still, but I know you're going to talk about the defenders and everything, and I think you're right to. But can we do it in the context of Ange has not improved one single player of our team? And if he has, they'll be just like
Maz, you obviously haven't listened to Mr. Box Office because I told you about this guy being a coach. Again, these things seem to come up all the time that I've been saying.
We have had this conversation.
We have. My gosh, it's funny, this, isn't it? Funny, this.
The only
Bloody
one
hell.
you could even say has improved under him is Porro. That is the only one you could give a chance.
Well,
of
I'm
saying,
gonna-
I
I'm
think
gonna
I
call
think
this-
Porro's regressing. I think he's regressing.
but he had a terrible game.
Right, you show me where Porro's good here, right? So they've scored their winning goal in the 31st minute. Mateta, who got brought back into the team, who's been in and out of it, he picked up a brilliant pass from Eze. That flick was superb, and he buried it from close range. Okay, but when you look at the goal, every defender fucked up. The lot of them, right? Let's break it down. It begins with Romero, who's on the ball, and I've circled Romero in red, and I've circled the Crystal Palace players. It's a drilled pass on the ground between the two players who are 10 yards apart.
No, he chipped
Knock
it
it
still.
between them. Well, I'm going to get to it. Right, that's the ball on. Play it to Van de Ven's feet. Van de Ven is facing Romero. Van de Ven receives it on his back foot, plays it on the front foot. What does he do? He dinks it in the air. As soon as you do this, you're now inviting pressure because this could go wrong. So you can see the ball is in the air. Now Van de Ven, he's trying to gauge the weight of the pass. What do you tell? So Romero's made a mistake in doing that. With Van de Ven, what do you tell every player? Don't let the ball bounce. What does he do? He lets it bounce. Because when a ball bounces, you don't know what might happen. So he lets the ball bounce. And then he misjudges the pace of the ball and it goes past him. Okay, fine. So then he goes across to where the ball's gone and the Crystal Palace player crosses it into the box. So Romero's made a mistake. Van de Ven's made a mistake. Now, the ball gets crossed in, but before he gets to Eze and Mateta, you've got two Spurs players in front of the Crystal Palace attackers. Why aren't they dealing with it? That ball, how does that ball go to Eze? How does that ball end up with Eze? They fail to attack the ball. That's why they stand there looking at it, go to the ball, attack it, and then too late. The ball falls to Mateta. Now we're depending on Vicario to make another shot-stopping save to protect us. The whole defense messed up. The whole defense.
A few weeks ago, the same scenario that played out today. I wish I could remember the game, but there was a game where played a very similar pass to Van de Ven. It was probably every game, but there was one I remember, and he actually lost the ball, and the other team got the ball, but for some reason, he managed to go out. What I'm saying is, this is down to the manager because he's telling them to play this way, play out the back. We always taught when I was growing up, don't play the ball across the box. What do we fucking do?
Yeah, but I've been saying this for over a year. Over a year, I've been saying this to everybody. We take more chances in front of our own bloody goal than we do in front of their goal.
Can I answer that? Can I answer that, Dan? Can I just quickly answer that?
One thing, though. James, answer it. I just want to say one thing. You can play the ball across your box if the pass is on and there's no danger. Van de Ven was in open space, no one around him. The defenders are split. If Romero drills it on the ground, that was the beginning of the series of events. If Romero drills it on the ground, I don't think this happens, guys.
Put that first screenshot up, Sel. Honestly, there is no way in hell that pass is on.
I'm sorry, you don't play the ball across there. I'm sorry.
Not from that point of view, it isn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is a pass that is on, but you never make that decision to make that pass.
If you play out from the back, okay.
Romero has got space to move up the right channel. Put the screenshot back on. Romero's got the opportunity to move up that right channel.
I don't know why he played that pass.
Yeah, but the reason
there is no advantage to play the pass.
Well, it is because if Van de Ven opens up, his first touch is into space, goes forward.
So what's wrong with that space that's right in front of him for 20 yards that he can move up and then maybe go towards Crystal Palace's goal?
I'm not saying there's not another option, David. I don't disagree with you. There might be another option, but that pass to Van de Ven is on. But it's the choice of pass that began to be the catalyst of errors.
I agree with you. If he drills it along the floor, it can be done, right? What I'm disputing here is what benefit that comes, even if he drills the pass perfectly to Van de Ven.
Dave, why take the,
even if he gives it to Van de Ven,
David,
Take
I've
off
got
the-
one
risk in front of your own
If you look at the space in
Get
front
the
of Van der
ball
Ven,
and go
look at the space in front
Yeah,
of
but
Van der
look at
Ven.
the space in front of Romero.
Yeah,
You know, listen,
No.
I don't
that's what I mean.
disagree.
Taking
I don't
risks
disagree.
in front of our own goal.
Right.
Still. More risks.
The reason I'm laughing about that is that the player's choice there, because he thinks in his mind the best pass is Mickey Van der Ven, or is he doing it because he's been told by the manager that's how we play? What do you reckon out the two there?
It's the player, Rob.
It's the manager. I think. It's the
David,
I think it's the manager.
it's always
it's
the
the manager.
player on the ball's responsibility to make sure he finds his teammate. And
I
makes
would
the right
agree with
decision
you on that, Ian.
of who to pass to. Always, it's always down to him. He's obviously got to have help. He's got to have help with runners, but it's his decision. It's his pass. Every
So
time.
therefore, I'd agree with you, Ian. I question, and I've done this before with Romero. I think he makes world-class defensive actions, but he's not a world-class defender. And another proving point is this one. There is no need for him to try and make that pass. He's welcomed what happened after that in that one action. If he's a proper defender, he goes up the right channel. It don't even become a question what happens after it.
Play up to Solanke.
I think. Yeah, but hold on. We're not going long. That is coach. We do not go long.
That's the problem. Still, that's the problem. You've got a player who can get the ball. You've got a player in Solanke who is good enough to hold the ball up, who is a target player.
I don't think he is.
Use him. I'd rather balls played up to him, Dan. I'd rather lose the ball around the halfway line than lose the ball in our box every time.
But that's where we take more risks in front of our own goal.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's pass like that. What Romero's got there, Davey's 100% right. Really, he should have looked forward to getting that ball forward, even if it was just to get rid of the ball, basically. Yeah,
he did look forward.
Again. Whereas if we was up the front, we'll wait until the chance is like 70-30, 80-20 in our favour. Whereas in front of our own fucking goal, we seem to go like 40-60 against us, and we'll take that chance to hope something comes out of it. For me, you should be putting the safer passes in front of your own goal and taking the risks to get a chance in front of their goal. But we do it the opposite way round. I've been saying it for a year.
It's every game. Every game we've got our heart in our mouth.
I've been saying it for a fucking year, mate.
That's why it's down to the manager, not down to just the players.
Yeah,
it's down to the coaching.
Do you know why I think that we take more risks? Do you know what I personally think we take more risks at the back is because our better technically gifted football players all play in the back line. I don't think Johnson's technically gifted. I don't think Solanke's technically gifted. More for me, I was probably one of the only ones that said I didn't want him to start because I just felt like he looked too young. I thought he had a good game and did reasonably well. But I think every time there was a meaty challenge come in, I thought he got battered. I think he literally just got battered. And I thought he rushed a few passes after the first half an hour. So for me personally, I would have liked to see him come on the last half an hour. But again, we've got no one to start. But for me, I think that's why we do more risks and more passing towards the back, because in theory, we're more capable and there's more chance of it being successful playing it around at the back than we have at the front.
Apart from Porro, where are we technically gifted at the back? Van der Ven is not technically gifted.
Romero is. Romero's got a good pass on him.
Guys, can I?
Van der Ven can get the ball and run with it, yeah? Romero is not technically gifted passer. He can tap it a good 8 yards in front of him. And the other person with Romero is he slows the game right down every time before
That's a different point, Dan. That's a different
point.
Yeah. But isn't being technically gifted part of memory knowing when to do it and how to do it at the same time? We said it with Madison.
That's decision making.
With Romero.
But
that's being technically gifted as well.
I mean,
no, technically gifted is being able to make that pass. Can he make that pass? Look at the amount of assists that Romero gets a season from where he's deep and he's played through balls. Like for me, and I'm not saying Romero is better than anybody else. I'm saying if you compare, say for example, there's a through ball that needs to be made. Would you have Romero on that through ball, or would you have Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke, or Mikey Moore, or the Bird, or Timo Werner? For me, out of all of them, I'd rather Romero be the one in that position making that through ball, because the rest are crap.
Can I just say something? There's a difference between technique and skill. Technique is when you've got the ability to manipulate a ball and control it. Skill is when you can do it when you're opposed. So people that can do kick-ups have got lots of technique. but can you do kick-ups when someone's trying to tackle you? Then you've got skill. So what we want
I've got
really,
neither, by the way, still.
none of us here have got neither. Don't worry. Well, Ian, back in his day, maybe.
I'm a centre half who gets the ball clear.
What we need is what we saw from Mikey Moore the other night, skill, because he's got the technique to beat players and actually beat them one-on-one. As they showed skill. So if Romero can do things when opposed and pull it off, then he's got skill. I think we've got players with technique, but not necessarily skill. They can't do it against opponents. For me, Johnson doesn't have skill. It just doesn't have the skill.
Just have pace. That's it.
But it's even like Solanke, where people say like, you know, he's a good striker or he's tap-ins or I personally am finding it really hard to find what he brings other than a sacrificial lamb. Don't get me wrong, work rate, phenomenal work rate. Closing down, phenomenal. The moment he gets that ball, I think he lacks in so much quality. I don't think he's a striker. He hasn't got that natural instinct of, can I get in that box and score this goal? Can I take this shot off? Can I look for this?
I said it when we signed him. I said it before we went live on Savage Show today. And I had people in the comments saying, you know, you don't understand what he does. And I said, well, what does he do? Tell me what he does. £65 million for a hold-up player. Bring back Peter Crouch for £5 million.
I do think that Solanke does have better technical ability in terms of when you compare
than Richarlison.
Than Richarlison. I think he can hold up the ball better than someone like Son, for example.
Promise doesn't score enough goals.
No, he's got a good first touch on him, and he can. I think he's
a target man, Maz. Yeah, he's a good target man.
Close. His ball control when he's under pressure is decent, but that's about it. I mean, you're talking about very specific scenarios where that comes into play for him when he's receiving the ball. Where you want him to really shine is him shifting a ball to a yard left or right, and then hitting, striking the ball and getting a goal, or beating a player and shooting and getting a goal. I don't see that in him. I just don't see that.
Do you not think, guys, that the system's wrong? The system that Ange plays doesn't get the best out of a lot of these players.
Yes,
and we would be doing better. Listen, the players that we've got are never going to. I'm just talking about domestic trophies with the level of clubs that we've got in our division. I'm not talking about the Europa because that's a separate thing. But in terms of domestic trophies, we're nowhere near. And I'm not saying we would win anything, but we'd be a lot closer with a proper manager who drills the team and plays players in their right positions. You know, we've got Poro and Udogie, who are wing backs.
Playing inverted.
So the whole thing's wrong.
The other thing is up front. Front, the other problem we got up front, which we're not used to having, is we have got not one player up front, bar maybe Maddison here and there, who can create their own chances to make a chance. They all need their chance made for them to then have a chance to do something, if you get where I'm coming from. I said it on Stel's show earlier. To me, you got to make a chance to get a chance and do something with a chance. We're used to having Harry Kane, who would get the ball, make a chance, and then make his own chance out of it to score from it. He didn't always need someone to do everything for him, so someone could tap it in the back of the net. This is what I was saying earlier, a few games back to everybody. 8 times out of 10, I'd say, we only score one type of goal. And that is a little tapping, walking it in the back of the net, like you're playing FIFA with a sweaty ball across, tap it in. And it shows blatantly. Every single player there needs their chances and dinner basically done for them and not put on a plate for them. None of them know how to serve it up themselves. They all
we just lack creativity, ideas. They do that same drill in training, right? And that's all they know how to do. They just default to that drill.
And that's how you play FIFA,
do.
for God's sake.
Exactly, and that's where that's where when Stel showed the stat earlier about touches inside the box, that's why I think we get so many touches inside the box. Not because we're doing something really dangerous in there. It's because what they do is they grab the ball, run down the channel at the edge of the box, and then that counts as a touch inside the box, and then they try and cross it in for a tap in, which ultimately the team sussed us out and they fail. to do
I think Maz, it's funny, where I was stood this afternoon, second half, Johnson's in front of me. And it's the first time, because I sit top tier at Spurs. First time I've been that low, halfway line, virtually. I was literally next to the Palace fans. And just watching Johnson, and his IQ is just so poor. And the runs he makes were just appalling. And there was one situation. Hang on, listen. But Johnson's right in front of me, so I'm watching it closely. I mean, there was one situation. I think was it Solanke or I can't remember. One of them had the ball, and no one. Johnson's gone inside instead of outside. I think it was Porro had the ball, sort of halfway through the second half, and he's had to turn and come back and go back. Yeah, because Johnson's not giving him not giving him a ball either. He's either not come square of him or he's not gone wide of him. I mean, his football IQ is so poor.
Ian, it's
and
not
that
just
goes
him.
to a wider point whereby
it's not
but
just
that goes to a wider point where Ange's recruitment policy and the recruitment team, they're going after players with certain attributes and stats, but what they're not going after players is players with a bit of brain power who can actually read the game tactically and think on their feet. So we've assembled a team of low IQ players. That's what it seems like to me, like drones.
Our
that
fan
don't really know what
base,
to do.
Our fan base is so culpable right now. The entire Spurs community is embarrassing. Listen, this winds me up. When we signed him, he's the perfect fit for Ange's system. Kulusevski, best Premier League midfielder. Johnson, he silenced his critics. Graham Bergvall, generational talents. Absolute bollocks. The whole thing is massive waffle designed for happy, clappy, yay, positive vibes. When I sat here, like every week, when we beat Man United, and I said to you, they're shit. Don't get carried away. And then we get banged up by Brighton. Last week, when we beat West Ham, I said, I'm not getting hyped. They're shit. And I warned you lot. And then what did you say to me, Ian? You're always negative. You're negative. And James is saying, no, you got to enjoy it. Do you get it now? Do you get why?
No.
James and
You've got
I'm going to call it out.
You've got to let me defend myself then.
I told you, all of you.
You've got to let me defend myself then after saying that, because that's not fair. You've made me look like I'm...
It's fair.
No, it's not.
First things first. No,
still. Okay? You've got to let him pull his pants back up still. You can't just leave him on the floor.
You're implying that I'm saying that I was one of those ones saying everyone's amazing. I said if we win, you have to enjoy the wins, because otherwise what's the point?
Not when it's fake.
No,
that win was fake.
Even when it's fake, still.
The win.
I can't watch my team. Sorry. If we win,
you lot got carried away. Enjoy it.
I didn't get carried away.
It's mediocrity.
No one's carried away. No one's been carried away. I've said all along, Stel, I think we'll finish between 5th and 8th this season. But I do think we've got a decent chance in the Europa. I'm well aware of where we are as a club. We're nowhere near the top 4. I say that every time I come on this podcast.
Ian, off the back of the West Ham United win, off the back of that, this fan base declared Kulusevski as the best Premier League player. Go and have a look at him.
Still, what fan base?
You're now talking about someone else. You a minute ago said me. You personally said me. I never said that. I never got
another podcast got on about Kulu. That's them. That's their opinion. That's two people's opinion.
You called me negative because
I said I'm
not celebrating beating mediocrity.
Sorry, Ian, you're on your own.
That's right.
But Ian,
why always celebrate
You're fake positive. Because when I sat here saying I'm not going to celebrate that because it means nothing to me, because that doesn't change anything, because they're rubbish. Go and win the next 5, 6 in a row, and then I'll say, hold on a minute. We've just beaten Villa, just beaten City in the Cup. We've just beaten Chelsea. Hold on, Stel, calm it down. Then we go to a team that hasn't won in the league, and we get done over.
Is that true, though? Is that true? Because you did say the same thing about Brendan Johnson, and he scored 7 in 7, and you didn't give him any credit. So you said word for word. You said word for word. If he scores, he was on like 4 in 4. You went, if he scores against United, if he scores against, I'll give him credit, and you still didn't.
Because I wasn't impressed by it. I wasn't.
But this is what I'm saying. So you're when you kind of pick me out as an argument there, and that's fair. Listen, I'll argue my own case until I'm blue in the face. I once never said we're in the right position. We're going. I said I'll never be Ange out until we get the ball back. I don't believe Ange wanted these players. I don't believe for 1 minute that they said to Ange, "Who would you like us to sign?" And he's gone.
So how many players can you sign?
Let me finish.
So Ange is Levy's little bitch then.
He's Levy's bitch. Full stop. All right, don't worry, I won't say. Go on, you boys crack on.
Come on, you got to let James finish his point.
Yeah, finish.
Shut up after that.
Yeah, let him finish.
Because you you believe that Levy went into Ange and said, "Ange, who do you want?" And he goes, "Bergvall. He's going to win me the league. I want Bergvall." Do you believe that?
Problem is, James, is he came out and said
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question.
I
But he
believe
said this is all on me. I knew what I was getting into.
I agree. No,
That's the problem.
So are they Ange's players? You just said they're Ange's players.
They are, because he said
They
says
are
yes to
Ange's
all
players.
signings.
I'll tell you why I'll tell you why they're
Why is
his
Timo
players.
there twice?
Right?
Timo Werner twice.
Because James, right, before all of this history played out, right, at the start of his during the summer and the first few games of his first season, he said everyone who comes through the door is from my say so. He made it abundantly clear, right, that he was the boss, right? Then he proceeded to sign all these players.
Okay.
Then he reiterated
answer that bit before you go into the
saying,
next bit? Can I answer that bit before you go into the next bit?
Yeah.
I don't think these are Ange's players, but I think he's a liar and he's a yes man. So that's my opinion on that part.
So he's Levy's little bitch then.
But that's a different conversation.
So James, so then it goes to what I've been saying for quite a while now is I won't give this manager grace because they've had the blueprint of what Tottenham is now for the last 3-4 managers. Poch, Conte, Jose. They know what this club is all about. So if they come in and they accept this Levy behaviour in terms of the types of players we sign, etc., and look, it's his club at the end of the day. But if they're true professionals, winners, and grown men, they're the ones who should be saying to Levy, no, this is how we do it. Bit like what Conte did, bit like what Jose did, bit like what Poch wanted to do near the end, right? So he's culpable. So Ange and Levy are one in the same thing. They might as well just call him Lange and mould the names together.
From that, man, I completely agree with you. I couldn't disagree anymore. I think exactly what you said is exactly what's going on. I think Levy's like, this is what we're going to do. I thought Ange probably come in and said, no, I'm playing this way. I'm doing this. He's got into the club. Levy's gone, we're not doing that. We're going to do this, and this.
So why are you backing him?
Okay.
Why aren't you Ange out?
Well, why? Because I want this to crash and burn. If this is the case, I want this to crash and burn so bad that Ange calls out Levy, and then we go for it again. No,
I don't think he will. It's
no,
too
but
much
you're
of a
asking me.
yes.
You're
if it
asking me
crashes
why.
now.
I gave you my answer. It's not. He won't.
You said he's a yes man 5 minutes ago. So why
If it crashes now, what's it matter?
Because eventually, when all the pressure then turns onto Ange, because at the minute our fan base are
James,
sort of 50-50. When the fan base then turn on to Ange, and Ange starts getting the pressure, it's only a matter of time before Ange goes, you know what, I can't keep sticking up for this guy. Because Conte did at the beginning. He was like, okay, yep. And then you started noticing a turn, and then you started to turn, and then turn. And then people started saying, Conte's over the moon, Conte's past it. And then all of a sudden he went, actually, I'm not having this. I'll say it how it is. And things like that for me. People say about players. People say about Timo Werner. People say about X, Y, Z. I saw the same thing happen under Conte. I see the same thing happen under Nuno. I see the same thing happen under Mourinho, Poch, Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp. But yet this time it's different because it's all Ange's players. Ange has been back, even though we've seen it for the last 24 years.
James, the massive difference between those managers and what's happened is that Jose threw those players under the bus and said they were crap, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And Conte gave us all the information we needed week in, week out about the problems at Spurs and why Spurs need to operate differently and why it's a process and why he won't try and aim guaranteed top 4 and all that sort of stuff. He wasn't happy to play that
Poch
game.
said,
And then
stop
he blew
calling
it
me
all up.
manager, just call me coach.
Exactly. So,
But also,
Ange's
Maz,
like,
I
it's
never
me,
once
it's
called.
me, it's me,
I
everyone.
never once called any of those guys out either. I have never said I want Mourinho out, I want Conte out, I want Poch out. I've never done that. Because for me, I can see what is happening behind the scenes. It's been the same thing for the last 20 years.
James, I get you, bro. I get you, man, and I do understand your point of view. I think this is, and I've been trying to get this point across to Brian, right? The landscape since Conte has left has changed at Spurs in terms of any manager that comes in now has no excuse, right? They have to behave differently. And Ange has come in, not only has he not behaved differently, he's become the biggest yes man, the ultimate yes man in Spurs' history. Therefore,
the other
Ange out.
The other problem is, James,
I agree with that, mate.
crashes now like you want it to, it doesn't matter. It's not going to go on Levy properly because Ange has been the biggest dickhead out of every manager, some of the managers I've ever seen, to blatantly pinpoint every little thing and put it on his back. Every point that goes wrong now is purely on him to what he said. But then if Ange turns around all of a sudden and says, no, actually, I just said this for the sake of it and whatever else, which he ain't going to say that, but says that, people are just going to think of him, you're a bitch anyway, mate, because you're now basically saying he is Levy's little bitch. And it's not the nice way of saying it. That's what he is. And if it crashes, he's put everything on his back with what he says. Conte didn't do that. Poch didn't do that. Mourinho didn't do that. He has put everything on his back. So when it crashes now, people like us, we know where it come from, but we're also going to put it on him as well. But all the Levy lovers are going to sit back and say, but hang on, Ange said the whole thing's on him, so it's on him. So it's not going to go on to Levy so much because all the Levy lovers are going to turn around and say, yeah, but Ange said it was all about him, not about Levy. It won't crash the same way now.
No. The only people that are going to do that, and I don't mean this as an insult or being horrible, mate, is but people like you that are going to say, no, Ange it's all on Ange now because Ange said these are his players. It's all on Ange. If you're that narrow-minded to think, you know what, Levy gets a pass now because it's all on Ange, then I'm sorry. Then we're going to go around in circles. But what we'll do is we'll sack this manager. The next list, the way you've got for me, and I don't want to be rude or to anybody. But if you believe sacking the manager and then Levy is hiring the next manager, so let me tell you, Levy is hiring the next manager, and you think another manager is going to come in and not listen to Levy and do as he's told, then your fucking head's gone.
We won't go getting managers like that. We can do that.
As you said that, your head went.
Yeah, perfect.
But the way he's gone and done it, I have never seen a manager be that much of his little bitch and say that. I put it on Ange because of his technique.
How? That's madness.
I'm just about to tell you because I reckon a better manager with these players would do significantly better because they're not shit, not at all. But they're all being played the wrong way. That is on the manager's head. Levy does not really control who gets picked for that team, bar he goes and pays 65 million and says he's got to play. We've all said that if different tactics were used with these players and each player was pinpointed to play the way that they're best at, not inverting, not doing this, not trying to defend when they're better at going forward and put in the right places, a better manager with better tactics wouldn't have made the same fuck-ups that Ange has made in, game after out. And we'd be looking significantly better. I'm not saying we'd looking at winning anything, but we'd look better. This is why I think Ange has just got to go. I think he is a shit manager. I do not rate him, and he has given nothing to prove that he is a consistent manager.
He's a shit manager.
He's out of his depth completely. The other point I hold it on him, hang on a sec, yeah? People say, right, respect. Now, for me, you earn respect. I don't respect no one unless they earn respect off me. The thing I show is common courtesy. So what I've done is shown common courtesy to Ange by not looking him on as Levy's little bitch. I'm looking him on as a man who's sitting there saying his piece, and this is what he believes. Right, fair play. I haven't got to agree with it, but credit where it's due. So he's gone and put the whole thing on him there. So I'm now sitting here saying, well, I'm now showing you the common courtesy of believing what you're saying. But then you're telling me he's saying it just for Levy. So then he's just Ange's little bitch. Simple as that. That is all he is. And a better manager would have had better results with this team, even though it ain't great.
there's a couple of things there. Obviously, first of all, you're implying that I've said Ange's a good manager or a great manager. Whenever I
I
ever
was
said
talking
that.
about anybody. I didn't say
Yeah,
your
yeah,
name
no,
once.
that's fair. And,
I
but
said
this is where
anybody.
I only talk about me. I've never once said that. My reasons for wanting Ange in, like I've explained, are different to success on the pitch. My reasons are I would rather it get to a point where the fans. I mean, I'm Levy out, and I want change now. I've wanted change
Don't we all?
for years. But
Don't we all?
for me, after every manager, in my opinion, we get a few more Levy outs. We get a few more, and it builds and
But
it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. So I think if it gets to that point, I think we'll gain more. So I would rather get to that point where it's like that.
But when the manager's gone and put everything on his own head, it's taking it totally off Levy's pressure. And let's say we was to get another 1,000. Let's say we was to get another 1,000. Like another manager goes out, another 1,000 people go for Levy out. Those people who would change their mind, they've now got it on their back and their mind that, oh well, but Ange did say it's all on him, and no manager's ever put it like that before. So we'll only get 500 of them, if you get what I'm saying.
Guys,
yeah,
can I
but
just say
there's
one
500
thing?
people
James,
in the
hold on,
stand.
James, I just want to say one thing. Do we all agree? Do we all agree on this? That Ange isn't good enough for the job. Lange, in terms of recruitment and scouting, is a shadow on what Paratici and Mitchell showed us they could do. So he's not right for the job. And Levy, he's always involved. He hires the managers. He fires them. He doesn't properly back them when we need the kind of right backing. He's the biggest culprit of all. So really what we're saying, if you agree, is Levy's got to go. Lange needs to be changed. And Ange has got to go.
Yeah.
Do we all agree that are we all kind of there? They're all three.
Yeah, all three. All of them. Go, man.
Yeah. Right, well,
and Scott Munn.
And Scott, absolutely. Scott Munn, Donna Cullen, right? So here's the problem. We all agree the whole thing stinks. But when you've got a manager like we've never seen before at any Premier League club coming out continuously saying, me, what do we do? If he just shut up, I think Levy out would be growing stronger. If he just went silent. But what he's done is he's literally given Daniel Levy every get-out avenue.
Exactly.
And all those that might have been, James, all of those that might turn to Levy out, they're now, no, man, listen to what the manager's saying.
Exactly.
You say you don't believe they're his signings, right? The problem is you're in the minority, James. The majority think, no, it's Ange's. He's been back.
One other thing, James.
Because Ange said you don't. They believe Ange. What do we do now?
You said you don't want Ange out, yeah? You don't want Ange out, no? Right. Do you think then that he said those words off his own chest, or do you think he was sitting there reading the book off of Levy?
Said what, mate? Sorry.
Do you think? I mean, you're not Ange out, and you've got your reasons for it. Fair enough. The main reason I'm Ange out is because I just don't think he's fucking good enough, and I think a better manager with better tactics would have got more teams. But would you say that everything he's basically said? Would you say it's off his own head because he's that stubborn and believes in himself, or would you say it's saying it because he's basically sitting there like that, reading the book before he says it off of what Levy's told him to say?
So I personally believe it. If you're asking me personally, I think that he's being paid the biggest amount of money he's ever been paid in his life. And this is he's potentially he's not a young lad anymore. This is potentially his biggest or his last big job, especially depending on how it goes. He ain't going to start calling out the guy that's paying him the top wages. In my opinion, it's just not going to happen.
So that makes him a
yes man. I get it totally. So that means he's
the ultimate yes man then.
I've never once said he's not a yes man.
He's Levy's little bitch then.
It means he's got no morals.
This is for me. This is
no
where I think
professional integrity.
This is for me where I think we need to separate everything. This is where I believe I separate a lot of things, and some people don't. So some people will say he's a yes man, so he needs to be like he needs to be gone, or vice versa. He's a yes man, so all of these above all fall under him. Like what we said there, where some people are saying they're not seeing the previous 24 years. So because of what Ange said, they're blaming everything on Ange. Well, if we all stuck together and we all looked at the last 24 years and said, right, the actual real problem we've seen this 24 times is Levy, and stop the Ange out and start the Levy out, in my opinion, we'll get somewhere, especially with this.
James, that's fine.
Just
But
say,
then why
guys-
has he come out and said, I always win things in my second year, mate? I always win.
No, what he said
I wanna go after-
Did you actually did you listen to that? Did you actually listen to the interview? She asked him the question, and he said, "Yes, I always win something in my second year." Is he lying?
Actually, correct.
Yeah, but
is he lying?
But there's a way of delivering your facts, right?
No,
Right? He gets really prickly when he gets asked difficult. But yeah, right. He said it with. Right, he looked her straight in the eye and he's like, correction, I always win things in my second season. Right? Yeah, but
whereas if he'd have turned around and said, I have, one word changes the whole sentence.
But
there's
you've been asked
a
a
way of
question.
delivering the fact. And what
That's
he
what
could
I'm
have
saying.
said, if he wanted to
I'm not
reiterate
going to
his
wake up
fact,
tomorrow morning like I woke up this morning. Oh yeah, you did. No, I didn't.
Yeah, but he also said, guys, Maz, hold on, Maz. He also said,
cutting me up.
He also said, I'm backing you up here. He also said, I want to challenge for the title this season.
Thank you.
Yes. So he said those two things, right?
And facts are
there's
different.
a way that James. There's a way he could have been factually correct, but he could have delivered his answer in a way that didn't set the expectation of him being arrogant. And
I agree
in the way he delivered that, right? So like there's a way of speaking to people. You can say things in an aggressive way, or in a neutral way, or in a defensive way, etc., etc. Right? And he chose. He's constantly being asked to journalists when he gets asked difficult questions. He gets really prickly. He constantly contradicts himself, right? And he's got this arrogance about him that he thinks he's like a winner because he's won in these unknown leagues that no one gives a toss about. I mean, you know, did Christian Gross come in and say, "Oh, I don't know, I was really good in whatever crap league that he came from"? No, he didn't. So, you know, why should Ange do that? You know, he ain't Jose Mourinho, he ain't Conte.
That's what, Maz, that's what I don't understand. The fans have all got, you know, because he talks the talk, Ange, he's won nothing at a proper league prior to coming to Spurs. It's not like, you know, you got someone like Tuchel that's won trophies coming to Spurs, or an Ancelotti, or Mourinho and Conte. This guy's won nothing in any credible league. And I'm sorry if there's any Scottish fans listening.
Let's move it away from football.
Tuchel's not won that much when you.
Can I just finish off by saying? Can I just finish off by saying?
Ian, finish. Yeah.
Can I just finish off by saying that what Ange says is absolute. You're 100% right. He's taken the heat off Levy, because every time things go downhill, the fans turn on Levy, and what does Levy do? He sacks the manager to take the pressure off him. And this has been going on for 24 years. You know, Pochettino's taken us we were one match off being European champions, and he's out 5 months later. Mourinho took us to a League Cup final, and he's out. Why is he out? Because he wants to rest players for the final, and Levy wants players playing on the Wednesday night against Southampton. We had no chance with these owners. It is absolutely, totally irrelevant while Enoch are at the club, what Ange says, what any other manager says, because none of them are going to be backed the way that serious football owners back their managers. And that's the bottom line, unfortunately. And until Enoch leave, until they sell, and it ain't going to be easy finding someone to cough up $4.5 billion.
Ian,
we're stuck with these people, unfortunately.
Ian, I agree. So then, don't you think then that going forward, with starting with Ange, we shouldn't back them until we get a manager in that has the balls like Jose and Conte did?
Well, Ange wanted Johnson, had to have Johnson, and Levy spent 12 million more than Brentford had agreed with Forest for Johnson.
Can I flip the question and say, would any manager get anything out of these players more than Ange's?
Definitely.
100%. Mate, this is set up for Conte.
You bring Dragusin in to start, you play with three at the back, you play Porro and Udogie as wing backs. There's your base. There's your base.
Right. I knew that would be the response, but who would that be based on who's available?
Well, that's the problem. Which managers are going to come knowing the restraints they have at this club?
Because there's hypothetical and there's realistic.
Yeah, and that's the problem we had for the last, for when we tried to hire Conte, no one would come, and then he had to pay him the big bucks to come. We had loads of managers rejecting, and then that same thing happened with Ange. We had like 70-something days where we couldn't get a manager because no one wanted to come. Even Potter turned us down because he doesn't want to work for Levy.
So now we're business as well.
Yeah, Slot turned us down because he doesn't want to work for Levy.
See, the problem we've got now is we either accept a mediocre manager, or we demand a change. But then, who like you guys have said, who does come in? We're stuck again. Do you know what? Levy has created such a toxic job for and the world knows it, that the reason Ange is here is because, like you said, James, it's a big payday. He's never seen anything like this before. So it would be another type of Ange. I guess what we have to hope for is we find someone like Ange, like the guy at Brighton, who's never been on the big stage, Herzler, who actually he gets it. He kind of understands it.
But can't I say?
A bit like Pochettino was.
That's what I was about to say.
Exactly.
Even our most successful manager was exactly that. It was
James, would you go and get a Kieran McKenna?
Look at it this way.
McKenna from Ipswich.
He's doing a good job.
He's my next choice. I've told Danny this
you
as
said
well.
this ages ago, mate. You said this a good few months to me, mate. Go on.
Don't get me wrong. I still wish we'd stuck with Conte and given him the keys to the house. Literally give the keys.
Oh, mate, don't.
But
Mate,
that ship has flown. So I can't flown. that'd be a plane, wouldn't it? But the point being, if we do get another one, it'll be McKenna from Ipswich, simply because I think he's got the minerals as a coach. I've heard a lot of good things about him from a coaching level as well, even to the point. Get this, when the players go and have their food, right? This might, I don't know where we're going with this, but when the players go get their food, all the instructions are pumped through videos. So when they're eating their food, subconsciously they're getting the tactics fed into them, even though they might not be looking at the TV cameras with the tactics getting pumped in. One or two will, right? Little things like that. It's like a constant drain. And you look, Ipswich, they should not be in the Premiership. Sorry, Premier League, for those that have been technically correct. They should not be in the Premier League. They got it League One, Championship, Premier League in 2 years. That shouldn't be done. And he's also Tottenham roots as well. So there's a lot of good things about him.
Thomas Frank works on a shoestring budget. What about him?
Listen, Thomas Frank, I think before Ange came in, he was my chosen one after Conte went, simply because I like the fact that Thomas Frank, he can sit there and play the ball on the floor, but he can also go long. He sits there, looks at the opposition, goes, right, what's going to hurt them the most? And I like that about a manager, that he sits there and goes, right, I'm going to set up my team to play my best way, but I'm also going to look at the opposition and go, right, I'm going to adapt it because you can't deal with that. And that's what I like about Thomas Frank. And he's a decent bloke as well. So he's a good shout. I won't
Still, we need to drop this. He can work on a shoestring budget, because that don't mean anything at Spurs. I mean, I
don't think I said shoestring budget, by the way.
No, not you, Dave. It's still.
All right, cool.
The point I'm making there is that if a manager, by the way, I've got to do some super chats after this because they're all building up. The point I'm trying to make is if he can work on a shoestring budget, he comes to Spurs and gets hundreds of millions. Imagine what he could do when he's.
Yeah, but Postecoglou was meant to be that geezer, but he just stopped being that guy. Full stop. It makes me wonder: was he ever that guy, or was it the people around him?
I think the difference is we've seen Thomas Frank do it in the Premier League. I think that's the difference. He gets the league. He knows. He's can adapt, and he's unearthed some gems. He's unearthed some players that actually are capable in this league.
Yeah, but still, what we don't know with these managers is whether it's the recruitment team in the way that the clubs are being run, i.e. Brentford are being run very well, Brighton are being run really well, Bournemouth are being run well, right? And they're signing good players and they're signing gems. Whereas at Spurs, we're aside from the monetary aspect, we've been run really bad, right? So unless the manager that comes in has got the balls to say, no, these are the players I want, I don't care what your Levy scouts are saying, right? Then I don't see how that's going to work any other way.
Okay, if
But
you look
man,
at the Spurs players, right? If you look at the Spurs players, Udogie was actually half decent at Udinese. Porro was good at Sporting Lisbon.
He was good. He was good at
Solanke, who I don't rate, he got 19 goals last year at Bournemouth. Surely there's a manager that comes in and says, do you know what? I'm going to play you the way you were played when you were good. Because they come to Spurs and, like you say, wing backs, you were really good at doing that. I'm going to make you do this. Solanke, you were good as a striker when you got service and you played it in a certain way. I'm not going to make you drop deep and try and link up the play like we're trying to do at Spurs. And it goes back to what some of you were saying earlier. Surely there's a manager that plays to the players' strengths that we got. Because Harry Redknapp was a master at that.
Yeah.
For me, the one that we've got, the one manager out there that fits our system and our players perfectly, barring the front line, is Ruben Amorim.
He won't
Everyone
come.
says that.
Doesn't like Levy.
Yeah, no, I know. But that, for me, is the one person that I'd say. I mean, Porro was fucking ridiculous under him, to be honest. He was so good. Something like that would be.
With it, I think we would be better
can I
off.
just do the super chats quickly and I'll come back to you? You're next, because they've all built up and I keep saying to them, I'll do them. Who just left?
Has left.
Right. Was that he's got to go. All right. Listen, you have a good night. Haz's link is in the chat. I posted it earlier, so make sure you follow Hasper TV. Let's quickly do some super chats. Edek says, player attitude on the pitch reflects the lack of ambition by the owners. Spot on. We are leaders. We're a leaderless club with managerial staff lacking leadership qualities. I think we've kind of been discussing that just now. Yeah, I think everyone agrees with you. Artist says our delusional fans were calling Eze overhyped. Well, that came back to bite us.
Yep.
He also says they blame the losing streak on him, basically. And he said, Eze and Bakayoko in January, we need a mid and a winger. I don't think too many of us would disagree with them to come in. And he also says, by the way, Artist, I think you can just pay $10 and get just one big chat if it helps you. He says, I said this coming into the Palace game. Sorry, I said this coming into the game. Palace struggled because teams would double team Eze, so they couldn't feed Mateta. So zero creativity. We failed to do this. I did touch on this saying we should have doubled up on Eze second half. But listen, I super chats. We agree with everything you've just said. I don't think anyone disagrees. Dan, sorry, you were going to speak.
I think we're now at a stage. We know what it's like. Levy ain't going nowhere. I don't wish, therefore, illness on anybody and whatever. But shit happens in life. I can't say I'd be bothered if it came up in the news that something had happened to Levy, whether he left or whether he died.
There goes the channel again.
I'm just saying. I'm not wishing nothing. I said that, but if something happened, I can't even say I know the man, so I can't really say I'd be bothered. I'd be a liar.
Just say Levy out. Just say Levy out. Just keep it Levy out.
Okay, my descriptions ain't the best. I do apologise. And with that, I think we would now just be best. We know how it is. We don't want to accept it. We don't have to accept it, but there's not a lot we can do to change it at the moment until, I don't know, amen, whatever. But if we get a younger manager in now, because I think the other problem is with Ange, is where he's had no experience in a top league and with a big team, he hasn't got a clue on how to do it any other way but his way. He hasn't got a clue how to counter-attack someone or counter-attack this, because he's never actually had a manager or another club of the same quality as what he's been with to challenge him. So it's always just been one way. And they say the older you get, the harder it is to learn. And I'd say that is true with 95% of people. I'd say we'd be better off getting a 31, 35-year-old manager in, even though we know how it's going to be done, but one who's adapted with modern football. One who also shows he can adapt. I hate to use it, but Arteta has done it, and he's actually started to look good at it. He knew, right, Spurs coming in, here is Spurs' weak spot. We're going to sit back and defend because we know they will screw up and give us a chance. Bang, it happened. That's not how Arsenal play usually. But they go against Man City, and they do exactly the same sort of thing. Why? Because the manager's got half a head on his shoulders and knows how to play tactical football and knows how to adapt to things. I just think we actually need to get a half-decent manager in now who can adapt to football game by game, who knows that different games need to be played different ways because different teams have different better players in different places, where one side it might be the left wing that's a total risk to you. Another game, it might be through the middle that's a risk to you. So a player that can work that out. Ange has not got a clue about how to pick off certain players or even how to defend certain players on his own. Archie Gray, prime example. For the second match on the straight that he's on, Europe, he gets cooked down his side. They double up on him. Why? Because he was blatantly the weak spot and they could see it. This is where the manager should sit there and go, right, my man's getting a bit done there because he's on his own. I'll bring Kulu over to the right because Kulu's good at coming back and covering my man. Or you see where they've got a weak spot up on the wing, so you double up on them. But he just, right, this is the way we do it, and that is that. No ifs or buts about it. Maybe once in a blue moon he might change a little thing to it or whatever. This is where I think we just need a younger manager who can adapt to football on a gamely basis, basically, and actually manage a game of football. Play the players for what they are meant, for what they're good at. Not just trying to put, what is it, round holes in square pegs or whatever, or the other way around.
Yeah, you know what I would add to that as well is I think Ange is a very old school personality kind of person. And I think that we're playing in a new school footballing era where you can't be as stern and as tough as you want and think that you're the boss. And I think that's one of the things that I think Poch did so well. He almost become like, I mean, everyone said he was like a father figure, wasn't he? The door was always open. They were always talking highly of him. There's always like caring and that side of things. Whereas I've been told, and I know personally, that Ange doesn't entertain any of that. Like, if someone could come in and say, I've had a really bad problem at work, at home, sorry, and he'd be like, yeah, we're here at work, like, let's get on with it. So, and I think you would get that with a younger manager. I personally would like somebody that is going to be a lot more arm around the shoulders in today's day and age than that's who we are, mate, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Can he adapt at his age? Is it possible? I've got a quick super chat from Marlon who says, gave Bournemouth 65 million for their top goal scorer. A, I'm not sure Spurs will finish above them. And B, Solanke looks like he's going to score fewer goals. I agree with A. Sorry, I disagree with A. I think we will finish above Bournemouth. And B, yeah, I don't think Solanke's scoring 19 goals this season in the league either. So I agree with one, not the other. Guys, I want to bring this up. I do want to bring this up. And his post-match comments. Well, I mean, we've learned not to listen to it, but let's see if we can understand it. Let me remove the banner from the bottom. So, on speaking to the Match of the Day interviewer, he said, it was one of those games with a lot of stoppages and battles, and they ended up winning a lot of them and coming out on top. There was a lot of disruption and it was hard to get any fluency. They did better than us. I think we all agree with that. It turned into a game where they were thriving on it and we should have dealt with it better. It was a poor goal to concede. It had nothing to do with playing out from the back. That can happen. We need to talk about that bit. I'd be surprised if they were happy right now. Why would I don't know who he means by they. Why would I be happy?
The players.
The players, okay. I'd be happy if I'd be surprised if the players were happy right now. Why would I be happy? If I'm unhappy, then they will be unhappy. If you're suggesting that our fans weren't happy with today, then that's a fair assessment. So he's acknowledging that the fans weren't happy, and that's probably because he heard a lot of booing, and Ian can confirm whether there was booing or not from the away end.
Final whistle, cascade of booing.
Really?
Just bad. Worst boos I've heard all season.
And to back onto that, Ange, it weren't directly to, because I'm assuming that was Sky Sports News, that one, or Sky Sports Report.
That was BBC Match of the Day. That was Match of the Day.
Right. He's done another interview and he's been scathing of the performance and being unhappy with it. So, by the way, he's not happy.
Apart from what he said about it wasn't down to playing out from the back, he was spot on. You know, Palace got their goal. They were breaking up play. There were tactical fouls. They were going down. I haven't seen a game for ages with so many stoppages that Spurs have been involved in. Not even Arsenal.
Yeah, and Ian, he's assembled a team of bloody wimps.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's assembled a team of wimps.
Palace outforced us today. They wanted it more.
Yeah.
For them, they're in trouble. 3 points out of 24, I think it was, and they've got to go and fight. Spurs should have known they were walking into a battle today. We never have it easy at Selhurst Park. We win there most years, but it's always a struggle. You take even with Posh's team. You had a 25-yard shot from Ericsson in the 80th minute,
but
won a game.
We've literally got no enforcer in.
There isn't. There's no leader,
apart from Romero, which to be honest, his head is in Madrid. He might as well just move over there now. To be honest with you,
at this rate, he ain't going to Madrid.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. Right.
They take Saliba before Romero.
But who's quote unquote hard in our team? No one. There's not one bloody player. There's not one player that is gonna, put a boot in and boss the game and give him a hard time.
Yeah, I think Romero puts a boot in, but I don't think he does it tactically. So I think he'll do a frustration. Someone's running down the line, I'm going to snap him kind of thing, rather than I'm going to put my foot in here and we're going to take control of the game. I think it's I'll get you back for that kind of thing.
He does it to prove he's a man rather than it helping the team in that particular moment in time.
See what made Poch's team so good, and let's exclude Wanyama from this, right? Is he had Dembele, who could boss a whole game on his own. He had Yang Vertonghen, who would bully and piss off the opposition strikers. He had Rose and Walker who would do the same, and they had pace.
Wanyama was a beast.
Right? Yeah, Wanyama was a beast. He had Dele Alli, who had a mean streak in him, and he would put in his boot in and piss him off and foul. Kane used to be quite a physical presence.
Do you remember when we brought Wanyama?
Housery King,
just like a quick point. I don't want to cut you, Maz, from your overall point, but just a quick one on that. You remember we brought Wanyama? We felt there was a little gap in the team, a gap in the squad. We identified what that gap was, and it was a Wanyama type player. We went out and got him. Do you feel that
an anchor man?
Yeah, but there was a little hole in the squad, and we've gone identified it, gone out and got that. And it feels like that's not there.
But Dave, we've got holes. He was actually my earlier point was that he's assembled a whole
black
squad
hole in the middle of the pitch, and it spreads to the top.
He's assembled a squad, right, of basically weak players. I think even the subs bench for players to come on can't come in and change the game or add steel or anything of that nature.
This is where I was going to, again, I agree with you. I actually think that subs bench today was probably one of the worst I've seen, because I looked at that and thought, because I said in the group chat, we've got to bring Bissouma off and bring someone to control the game. Then I looked at the bench and I just thought, who? What? Timo Werner.
I've got to tell you, it's funny. I'm looking at some of the comments that are trying to wind me up and get me going with Archie Gray. The two guys sat next to me turned around to me on 80 minutes and turned around. Do you know what? With the shit we're watching in midfield, why isn't Archie Gray playing in his proper position? And half a dozen guys on the train going back from Norwood Junction were saying the same thing. Why bring him in? You look at the rubbish we've got in midfield. How can Ange not give the guy a chance when we're watching this shit week after week in midfield? And it was last season as well.
Because I believe he's good enough. That's where I'd back you up, though. Because that's where I would actually back you up. Because
you're so negative. It's unbelievable.
Could he actually do any worse than Bissouma in that first half? Would we have lost any? This is where you can't, for me, and this is where I stand with Archie Gray. How can I slate the guy if I've never seen him play?
Exactly.
I've seen him play right back a few times or here or there. But for me,
and he wasn't good.
What he's doing ain't working. So let's give it a go. Like, let's make our own mind up.
He would have got bullied in that midfield. We would lose it.
Where I agree with Ian, right, is I feel sorry for Archie Gray and Bergvall because Ange is not a good coach. He's not going to improve these players. In fact, with the way the team's going, with the regression that I've seen from Romero, Udogie, Van der Ven had a poor game today. I hope this doesn't continue with him. Porro and our basically the whole team. Everyone, I think, is regressing. Even when we're playing well, I still think I see levels of regression in them. I feel sorry for those youngsters because they're not going to get the start that they probably thought that they were going to get now. They're not going to develop into these brilliant players. And if Ange does stay, I fear for Mikey Moore because if he has to play in that team, he's going to regress as well. We said this before. Still, we've been saying this for the last 4 years now.
They need to go on loan. They need to go on loan.
When there's certain players in our team that bring down and destroy the players that come in that are good to begin with. And you've seen that happen with Bentancur. Bentancur under Conte, I think, was bloody brilliant, right? Conte's gone. A season and a half later, he's the shadow of the player who was under Conte.
If I'm Mikey Moore, I do not want to be playing next to Werner's, Johnson's, Richarlison's. I don't want that. I do not want to be playing next to those players. I want to be playing next to Kane, Lewandowski, Saka. I want to be. I want to be playing.
Mikey Moore must have been looking at that today and thinking, "What the hell is going on here?"
See, this is where I would disagree because I think Mikey Moore, if we're going to be honest, had 2 or 3 good touches. Other than that, I don't think he did a lot. I think he was the best of a bad mind. What did he do to look at everybody else and go, "How am I playing with these guys?"
James, he did nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So let's be real. He's looking. If he's going to be looking at players to say, "How am I playing with?"
I'm talking about developing him, right? If you look at Oliver Skip, if you got Oliver Skip, he was learning off Højbjerg. He was fucked, right?
My next thing was going to be the only way I would say if I was Mikey Moore, if someone like Eze comes in, because that's the perfect example to learn off of.
James, in the summer when the window was shit and some fans were praising it because they all fit the Ange system, I remember saying this and I'll repeat it. We must sign top quality players for 3 reasons. 1, to improve the team. 2, to show the good players that we do have why they should stay with us and not look elsewhere. And 3, who's going to develop the kids? What players they're going to learn from? Those 3 reasons are why you must always sign top players if you're a serious club. When you don't do it, I'm not surprised that now we're having this conversation. Well, who's Mikey Moore going to learn off? Who's Archie Gray learning off of? Who's Bergvall? I mean, Bergvall maybe learn off Madison and Kulu. You could say they're not bad players. They're experienced. He can learn something. Who's Gray learning off of?
Well, you know we were lacking today. You know we were lacking today. You remember that ball?
Everything.
That's right. But Thursday nights when Werner passed back to their keeper, who put that ball over the top for him?
Outside of the boot. That was disgusting.
It was Bergvall. That was a brilliant ball, and that's what we were lacking today. Nobody can.
This is where I go. Yeah, this is where
Don't worry.
Ange doesn't take them.
Don't worry, Ian. Ange coached that out of him.
None of them play.
He's good at that.
But this is where, for me, you have to call out Ange for that kind of stuff. This is why I judge him like game-to-game basis, because things like that is just not acceptable. How are you going to start Mikey Moore because he had a good 60 minutes, but Bergvall did exactly the same and not give him the same opportunity? If Gray is a centre mid, why bring him in and go, oh, well, he can do a job right back. Oh, he can do a job left back. Well, let him try and do a job in his centre midfield. Like, for me...
Guys, can I just say John Cooper?
And the sooner is, because how many more games are we going to lose this season before we go, oh, he's not ready?
I agree with you, but the problem is, we said this already. I said to you already, right? Who was there to teach these players? We let go of Perisic, a multiple Champions League winner. Yes, he might have wanted to leave. We kept Timo Werner. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, Archie, what is it? Mikey Moore will learn more off him than bloody Timo Werner right now. I'll tell you that for a fact.
All
Yeah,
day long.
I said, Mike O'Reilly, and then I'll give it to Sava because he's been banging on about this guy. Well, I know he's injured for Brighton. You'll learn a lot of the midfields will learn more of him. Locatelli, someone like a Goodowan. I know we're never going to get him, but someone like that.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? A Milner, even Milner would learn more of him. You know what I mean? Milner's a pro, a winner, and that's it. But we didn't get nobody like that. Because we said we got good enough midfielders with Basuma and Bentancur. And Bentancur, I'm sorry, he's a reject from Juventus for a reason. I'm sorry, I'm done with him. I'm done with him.
Who said that? That we don't need any midfielders. We've got good enough ones.
I don't. Bro, just go and watch a big channel. You know what channel I'm talking about. I love the two boys, but they talk absolute nonsense. We are Tottenham TV.
That's not giving it away, is it?
If they really want to find me, they know where to find me. Because TikTok, you know where to find me. You know what I mean? Because I'm ready. To go.
Listen, I just want to reply to John. I want to reply to John Cooper. I do want to get John on the show one day. I think some players at a young age just need to play because they've got it. And you're seeing it with those kids at Barcelona, like Yamal. You see it with Nico Williams, Wayne Rooney. There's certain special talent at a young age. Just they're ready. The reason Kane didn't learn off anyone, well, he did because he went on loan for 2-3 years. And it wasn't until he was 2021 he broke into the first team. So I look at Graham Bergvall and maybe Mikey Moore. I don't know yet. But I look at our youngsters and they need to do what's going on with Ashley Phillips. They need to go and get regular game time. I'm sure if we loaned Gray to Leeds, he'd start every week for them because he was starting for them before. And I'm sure there's a team in the Championship that would play Bergvall on a regular basis. Sitting on the bench, I agree. They're going to regress. They're not developing because they're not getting footballing minutes. And as they get older, they haven't learnt the game. They haven't progressed to the men's level. So,
but when Kane was at the club, like because obviously he was in our academy for a good while, and then he went out on loan and everything. But look at the strikers that were at Spurs during the period he was there. You know, you had.
It was Adebayor and
Berbatov, you had Keane, you had Defoe all going through there. Then you had Adebayor. Now, look, I'm not Adebayor's greatest fan, right?
Maz, what Kane had though was in the academy. He was being taught by Clive Allen, who was an ex-super.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was going to say. You had Adebayor, you had Pavlyuchenko, right? But then, like you said, you had Clive Allen being.
Now we've got Ryan Mason.
And that, right. So at least there was some like DNA there, of good players around the club at the time and a good team where he could pick things up off. Now we've literally got one of the poorest squads that I've seen. I thought Conte had a bad bloody team, but this team's turning out to be just as bad and doing worse than Conte's team.
We've got too many nice players.
You say that though. Hang on a second, yeah. This team is player for player. This is not worse than what Conte had. Bar Kane.
No, agreed.
And let's say Son, yeah.
I agree, but the stats are showing otherwise. Right?
Oh yeah, the stats are showing otherwise. But player for player, I think we've all agreed. You get the right manager in there who plays them all to their ability and right style, and also knows when to do certain things in a game. You'll see significantly better out of this team. Mourinho had a much worse team and got them to a cup final.
But I'm at a point now where I'm sort of fed up of giving the players benefit of the doubt. I mean, I've been doing that for like 24 years.
Oh,
now,
I totally get you.
And now Conte has been and gone. I'm just like, I just don't.
Yeah, I would disagree with that as well. Yeah, I don't think that we've got a much better squad if we've got a better squad at all than what Conte had.
I think significantly better.
Mate,
I mean, look at the defense.
Van de Ven and Romero is better than Dyer and Clement Longley. Sure.
Yeah,
Flores was done and dusted 3 years earlier.
Is it Clement Longley?
Chicken Royale. Porro's better than Chicken Royale. Adogi's a better left back than Ben Davies, just on the pace alone. In the midfield, we've got Maddison. Who did we have before? Was it Lucas Moura, our attacking mid?
Yeah, he was up on the right, wasn't he?
I would take Lucas Moura back right now. I'll be honest with you.
Not over
Madison
at the moment. No,
in our front line. In our front line. You tell me
Lucas Moura in the front line. The whole front three for me are worse. I think Højbjerg's better than Basuma in the number 6.
Yeah, I agree.
Celso was there.
I think Lo
Bentancur
Celso's
was
better
playing better.
than. I think Lo Celso's better in the midfield. So that's half the team. So is it actually much better?
Well, that just shows you the recruitment, James, doesn't it?
I agree.
When we sold these
Completely
players,
agree.
listen, James, I'm not saying this lightly, by the way, because I'm a hypocrite now. Because I was telling Ellie, right? I had to say sorry to Ellie, right? I don't like saying sorry because I had to say somebody else I can't say on this channel, right? On Dio Davis and all those players, yeah. That I had to say sorry to Ellie, saying Højbjerg was bang average for so long, and now he's gone. Hindsight's a beautiful thing now. Right, we didn't get anybody else that improved that midfield. Now I'm saying what Højbjerg about in my midfield. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
At least he would get started in the odd game or put on where Archie Gray is nowhere to be seen.
Mate,
Well, that's the point I'm making.
I'm agreeing with you.
I want Lucas Moura and Lamella back. That's at what state we're in at the moment.
I think you can sum it up by saying our recent squad rebuild has resulted in us needing a squad rebuild.
Again.
Guys, 1 minute.
We need a rebuild after the rebuild to get back on track for the rebuild.
This team's better than Conte's team. Vicario is a big upgrade on fucking Fraser Forster. The centre backs.
Well, he had Lloris. He didn't have Forster. He had Lloris.
Lloris was his.
Lloris was on the way down. Vicario
Lloris was done and dusted 3 years
today.
earlier.
Vicario made 2 unbelievable shot-stopping saves again. Right. I think Vicario is an upgrade on what we had before. The wing backs for me are better than Chicken Royale and Ben Davies. So the centre backs. Midfield, Højbjerg. Okay,
Romero wasn't Romero under Conte.
Yes,
but he also had Dyer next to him or Longley.
For some respect on Dyer's name,
played a 3. He played a 3, whereas we now only play a 4. So in theory, you're swapping Dyer or Longley for like a Lo Celso.
But we've also got Dragusin on the bench, whereas who did he have on the bench? It was a joke.
Yeah.
Right? So I think
Tanganga, didn't he?
Sanchez and Longley.
Jaffet and Ganga, there you go.
But in the starting lineup, they're 4 so far.
And he still finished fourth still. And when he left, he was still fourth.
And he had Rodon.
Hold on. I'm not questioning which manager got the most out of the players they had. Because for me, Conte is levels and some above Ange.
Same.
It's not even a conversation. But
Agreed.
Just squad, talent in the squad, bar Harry Kane, this is a much better squad.
Yeah.
If Conte had this squad, we're in the top 4, in my opinion. If he had this
I don't know. It weren't long ago we had Son, Kane and Bow up front. We've now got Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke and an aging Son.
Gareth Bale was under Jose.
We wouldn't even
Gareth
see
Bale was
any
under
of our
Jose.
wingers. You played the 3-back.
I agree with you, by the way, Still, on your fullback comment. You know, we've got better fullbacks than we did a couple of years ago. I agree with that. And the goalkeeper, I tend to agree with you on. But when you look at the front end of the pitch and then the creative engine in midfield, that's where the argument for having a stronger squad comes right down.
We said bar Kane. Look
at it this way.
No, but that's what I'm
same.
saying. We had a prime Son, an aging Bow who's still better than any of the front 3 we've got at the moment.
That was under Mourinho. That was
and
Conte.
Kane.
Conte never had.
Yeah, but in recent years.
I'd take Moura over Johnson. I would take Kane over Dominic
Solanke. Who would you rather have? Hold on. Who would you rather have coming off the bench? A Solanke or a Richarlison, or what Conte had, which was Danjuma?
Danjuma.
To go with what?
Stop it.
Get out.
100%.
Look, play it like
I'd
this.
rather NG over Richarlison.
We had no attacking midfielder. We had no attacking midfielder under Mourinho.
You play Dragusin in the middle. You play Van de Ven on the left of him. You play Romero on the right of him. Now you either use wing backs. I'd use wing backs personally. Adoji, Porro, overlapping, and then for me in the middle, I go Bentancur. Come back a little bit as a deep line playmaker when need be. And at the moment, I stick Kulu there. And then I stick Maddison in front of him and I put Solanke and Son. That already sounds like a better, more adaptive team than that can do something than what we do. I wouldn't even have our wingers in the game. Johnson wouldn't even exist in my game. The only way he might come on is for, say, when we need a bit of time off with Son or chop and change with Son. I'll be doing that with Johnson. And that's purely because we've got Johnson. But that team I've just said there, I personally think, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, that style would work tenfold better. The only way I might change it is have two behind the striker. Either play one attacking midfield and two strikers, or two attacking midfield and one striker. Whatever turns you on the day, depends maybe who you're playing against as well. I've been saying this for God knows how long. Now, with that team that a lot of people have said was bad, now the way I've just put that team out on there, does that sound like it could actually do something?
You've been saying that I vouch for you. You've been saying that for a long time.
Where are the goals coming
last
from?
year?
But does it last year? Think of it. Okay, think of it. Madison sitting as the playmaker, Kulu pressing forward with the ball to press it onto Madison. So then he has a choice with a target man with Solanke and we say a poacher with Son. He's also got Benson Core next to him who can come back a little bit when needs be and play as the deep line playmaker. You've got your two wing backs sitting there who can both bomb up and overlap, and you've got three solid at the back. You've got your out and out centre back who's not as good, nowhere near, but he's a sort of John Terry old school player. And then you've got two ball playing defenders there who can cover left, who can cover right, and then Benton Core can help cover at the back when needs. To me, it just sounds it's a no go for me. I'm a no go. For me, it's blatantly obvious. Does that not sound better than the way we play, the team we play? Does it sound better?
I don't think any of it sounds better, to be honest. I think it sounds better, but I think we're all clutching at straws, to be honest. I don't think half of those players.
Straws. I think that team
I don't think half of those players are good enough to get anywhere near the top four. So I don't matter what formation you play them in, then they're not good enough.
Yeah, but many a team have done it. You play, like I said, you play players the right way. You can make an average team look very, very good.
Got top four with a bunch of
Dan, you know what I think is the missing link?
Conte is elite. Conte is the best of the best. There is no better than Conte.
Yeah, James, that's the point. If you had a proper manager that played the players in a different way,
but there is no more Conte. You don't go and pick
But the way I've said it, James, the way I've said it, the way I would do it on the pitch, picture that now to the way Ange plays his formation. Does my formation and style with the players work better for what you know those players are better at, or does Ange's one work better?
Yeah, me and you've had this conversation loads of times. I'd go three at the back. That's what I would do. But
so that's what I'm saying.
I also don't believe that doing this is going to solve our problems. I also don't think this is going to solve our problems.
No,
I don't think that this is going to push us into the top four.
But
I don't think it'll push us into the top four.
James,
it would
win
us
us
games
improve
at
us from where we are.
Yeah, this is what I said. Yeah, it does improve us, but by how much? I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it's a lot.
Let's have a look at it. Well, let's have a look at it right now. Okay, right now we are from top four. We are 5 points. Would we be
I think we go up to 6.
better?
With all due respect, still, we've only won 3 less games than Man City.
Yeah, but they've lost none.
David, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't say that, David. David, don't say that, David, because you're bringing up. No, don't even do that, David. David, don't.
He's done it. He's done it.
Listen, for me, bring that back up, though. Still, can you bring that table back up for a second?
Yeah, well, let me read the super chat and I'll do it. I promise you. Otherwise, I missed them all. Krista says, thank you for the super chat. When will Ange get sacked? I believe Graham Potter would get much more out of this squad than Ange is doing now. There's a few people that have mentioned Graham Potter in the chat, to be fair. But when he went to a big club like Chelsea, it collapsed. So has he got the minerals? League table. Here we go.
We've only got 2 options as manager. It's either going to be Ryan Mason or Gareth Southgate.
I'm all for Ryan Mason then. I'm not having Southgate at this club. I'm not having Gareth Southgate at this club.
When the ultimate yes man goes, he's going to bring in the next ultimate yes man, Gareth Southgate. Right,
but where do we go?
I'll throw another name in, guys. If Staveley brings in Saudi money, Eddie Howe will come.
Oh, Eddie Howe's crap, man. I'm not having that. Eddie Howe's a crap manager.
I think he's a better coach.
He's had one good season, and he's been found out with a good team. For me, I think he's better than Ange. He's the most overrated manager.
They didn't sign any players, James. James, to be fair,
Right.
Newcastle really struggle with the FFP. They've signed no
I've
players.
a quick question.
To be
Yeah,
fair to Eddie Howe.
I think now
Just
look
wanna
at
jump
where
back to
you
it,
can't make an opinion on where we are in the league, and then look at them where they are in the league, and then start saying, "Oh no, Eddie Howe."
If we
It's
would
a
have been
big
playing the
we
way I
signed
said,
five division, James.
We signed 5 players. They signed none.
if we
We
would have been
signed
playing
shit
the
players.
style I said, James, yes, do you reckon we'd have
That's down to
beat? Do you
Ange,
reckon we'd have
man.
beat Leicester? Do you reckon
What's
we could
that?
beat Leicester with the way I've said play the game, with the players in the positions and that? Do you think we could have beat Leicester? Do you think we'd have had a better chance with playing that way? Just answer it yes or no. That's all I'm asking.
No, because you can't do it like that. Because it's like me saying, why did Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool? Do you think if they had that player, they should have beat
That's
Liverpool?
all I'm asking you. Do you think? Do you think we could do it? Do you think we would have played better against Leicester with how I said?
Under Conte, yeah. Under Ange, no. Ange doesn't play. I don't.
No.
So under Conte's style, then.
If buts
so
are maybe.
James,
No, but
3-5-2 under Ange.
question.
No, that doesn't work. 3-5-2 under Ange doesn't work.
Why not?
Because the press, there's not enough in the front line to press.
Dan, what James is saying is, yes, we would have done better with your system, but only if the manager was elite.
Yeah.
I don't even think it had taken elite manager.
I think no matter who you are,
positions.
we all sit on these shows and channels and say Johnson's not good enough, Solanke's not good enough, Son's on the downcline, Basuma's not been good enough, Bentancur's not been good enough. But if we get someone else in, these players that are not good enough are going to get us above. And this is where I was going. Can you bring up Can you bring up that table again, please, Stel?
Yeah, 1 second. There we go.
So, our squad is not better than City's. It's not better than Arsenal's. It's not better than Liverpool's. Not better than Villa's. Not better than Chelsea's. Brighton 50-50, and it's better than Forest. So, if we got a different manager that could push these players, what are we going to go up 2 places at best? If we're being honest, the players are not good enough. You can only perform miracles for so long before you get caught out. I'd even go below. Brentford have got 3 or 4 players that I would take. Fulham have got 3 or 4 players I'd take. Bournemouth have got a couple of players. Newcastle, I'd take their whole team. West Ham, I'd take most of their players.
All right, so James. Right, does it go back? Does it go back to something that I've brought up in the past and box office has mentioned? In fact, I think a lot of us have. In fact, Maz mentioned it the most tonight. Ange has assembled the biggest bunch of fraudulent football players we've seen in a long, long time. The players at Spurs are just crap. We've signed an abundance of very average football players. Is this where we're at?
Based on what we've seen, yeah. I think based on what we've seen, yeah. And it's not even just the first team. Like I said, I looked at that subs bench today and I thought, where do we turn? Like, where do we turn? That for me was like, we had to bring on Timo Werner. It was like, you have to bring on Timo Werner or Richarlison, and they're both useless.
Right.
So
I
that
keep
for
saying
me,
to you, James, that if you at least play players in the right position instead of invert. Right. Question: with the way we play now, yeah. Just take Ange in for example. If Ange was just turn around and say, right, we're still going to play the same way, but Porro, I want you to just do your overlapping while Johnson inverts as he does. And Adoji, I want you to do the overlapping. Why Son, whoever's out on the left, in inverts instead of telling them to play inverted. Do you think that would see us play significantly better?
I think that you would get. I think you would get better performances out of Adogi and Porro. I think you'd get worse performances out of Johnson and Son or whoever's on the left because I don't think they're technically. Because I don't think they're technically good enough to work in crowded spaces. I don't think they've got the technique or skill to work in.
But as all I'm saying, if anything, I'm opening it up because crowded spaces is when you're all in one space. I've just taken
But what I'm saying is, with what you're doing, I believe Porro and Udogie go up a million times better. But I think when Johnson comes inside, he's going to be crowded out by a centre back. A centre back's going to be marking him. So I think if he doesn't go missing now, he's going to be completely bullied out of the game.
But it's what happens anyway. Except we've got 2 crowded in the middle. And they run it in, or they get it come
Johnson's
across
always
as a
fairly
ball
wide, and he comes in at last moment to tap it in at the back post. Johnson stays fairly wide.
He also gets in the middle quite a lot as well when it comes from the other side. Do you think just that change we could play better?
Like I said, I think you'd get better at your fullbacks, but I think the strikers would perform a lot worse.
Do you know what, guys? I've thought about this. I'm listening to you two.
Fair enough. If that's how you see it, fair enough.
I'm listening to you have a chat, and do you know what? I just think we need a manager regardless of what players are going to come in or out, because that's always going to be a problem with Levy and Lange and whoever's the football director. They're all a bunch of con men, a lot of them. They don't give a shit. I just want a manager at Spurs, until Levy's gone, God knows when that is, that isn't just stuck in one way. Conte was fairly stubborn, but I understand why, because he didn't have the players. Mourinho he did adapt a bit, but very too negative. Poch
He also
adapted.
didn't
Man.
have the
I
players
remember that.
either.
I remember the Champions League though, when Harry Kane got injured. Poch, he switched it. He went right, 2 up top, Son and Moura, and it actually almost worked. So I'd like a manager that just has his way of playing, but says, do you know what? If I've got to switch it, I know how to switch it, and the players will learn how to switch it. And can adapt and pivot. I think I just want a manager that does that for me for now.
In a way, then, can I stick up for Ange in a little way? And by that, I mean, all the rumours, if we're going to go by everything that come out, was he wanted Conor Gallagher and he wanted Eze. They were the two names from the moment the window opened. We want these two. And me now looking at that squad. If you picked the perfect midfield for that style of play, I would pick Conor Gallagher or a player of that kind of those attributes.
A lot of fans didn't want Gallagher.
I did, but that's their problem.
Yeah, but had we known that
I was one of
options,
them, but I agree with your.
But had we known that Ange was going to bring in Odegaard and Gray,
I don't even think Ange would have
taken them. We would have taken Gallagher.
Yeah. Anyway, good night, guys. Good to see you all.
Take care, mate. Yeah.
See you later.
For me, like I said, I agree. I completely agree, but I don't think it's like, well, if we're going to believe some of the stuff that's said and rumoured around, obviously the two players that we were always linked with were those two, and none of them come in.
I think
especially Conor Gallagher. That was the one for me that suits his system, and even seeing him for the second system was the one like, okay, you fit. I can see why he would have wanted him.
Yeah, see, the thing for me with the Conor Gallagher one.
I totally see. Guys, let David speak. Let David speak.
The Conor Gallagher one, right? I was like, no, I don't really want him in my team because I don't think he's that great a player, and I still believe that. But actually, I'm retrospectively looking at him thinking he's the glue in the team that we're missing now. So his style of play, his type of play is exactly what we need in that midfield to link up the defensive midfield, the energy, the way Ange plays. So actually, I wish I could go back and say, actually, I wish I could back us getting Conor Gallagher. It wouldn't have made the slightest bit of difference, obviously, because it's just my opinion. But what I'm saying is I was against us signing Conor Gallagher because I don't think he's a great player. But his style of play and the way he plays, I think, is what we need. So I think you are right there, James, is what I'm saying on that. And I was wrong by saying
back. Would that not
exactly the same, Dave?
Would that not come into it? If we're saying he's been back, would that not come into it?
I think.
Yeah, I'm basically agreeing with your point. Yeah.
I think we needed a coach. I don't think Ange is a coach.
He's not a coach. I agree with you.
He's not a coach. He doesn't know how to coach.
So then,
this is why I think people are wanting. I'm impressed with Eddie Howe because he uses players and he makes them better, like Joel Linton, for instance. No one thought he was been a centre midfielder. He puts him in the midfield and makes him a midfielder. You see what I'm saying?
Dan Burn as
very
well.
good at that. But Satino, very good coach because he made Dembele the way he was. He put Foyth into right back as well. He did a lot of things. With young players, bringing them through as well. Martin Yole's one of them as well. Martin Yole's another one as well. Back in the day, back in his time. What I think Ange is very good at is being a very good man manager. I think he's a good man manager. He makes people believe. That's what he does. That's why he talks the way he talks in interviews, and that's it. That's why I don't even listen to him most of half the time, because he's great for that sort of thing. That sort of, he's like a Harry Redknapp, but Harry Redknapp was better at it because he had coaches under him. You know
So
what
if
I mean?
I'm playing devil's advocate there, Alex, are you agreeing with what James was saying, that if he signs Conor Gallagher, a ready-made player for his system, it works better for Ange and
Yeah.
Tottenham because he doesn't have to coach him?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying in terms of we needed him. I think for me, he's not a class player. He's not a quality player. He's an athletic player. Yeah, athletic player, which is what people want now these
A
days.
workhorse.
Because workhorse, and I think that was what we need. Because when I look at him, I think there's a reason why Atletico Madrid wanted him. I think he's got that something, a bit of grit about him, which I think we haven't got.
His style definitely suits Atletico Madrid's play,
and he's athletic as well. You know what I mean? I think he's more like a like the same sort of ilk as Henderson. You see what I'm saying? I think that's but I think with a Conor Gallagher, you need quality with him. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way it works. Because if you only just got workhorses, right? Great, but you need quality that and this is where I get annoyed with my what is it, Postecoglou today. You have Mikey Moore, right? What you do with a quality player like Mikey Moore, right? I'm not going over the top about him, but what you do with Mikey Moore, you put players to help him play his game, right? That's what we used to do back in the day with Gareth Bell and that. You see what I'm saying?
We don't have any of those.
Well, that's the problem. That is the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
See what I'm saying? And I think that's what we should have done today, because you saw when he's on the ball, when he's doing what he's doing, what is happening? All the Crystal Palace players are worried about him. This is what we're all worried about him. And what's happening then? There's more space for the other players now to get into space. You know what I mean? Because they're more occupied with Mikey Moore. You see what I'm saying? And I think Ange just completely missed
I
the
don't
trick.
even think they were occupied. I know everyone wants to get on the bandwagon of Mikey Moore, and I'm not saying that you are.
No.
But every time he cut in and beat his first man, he lost the ball to the second man. I didn't see anything.
He got fouled a few times, James. But
Oh,
that was
well done.
early doors. After that, they never gave him the ball. It was always too late. So he's got the right back up, marking him. So he's got to come back every time.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is he did nothing, though, did he? He didn't really do anything. Let's be honest.
Agreed. Yeah.
Did anybody did it? I felt sorry for him.
I'm not digging him out. I'm just saying, like this whole thing. For me, I didn't. If I was an opposite fan and I come back and I watch that game, I wouldn't have gone, "Wow, what a talent this kid is." He did nothing. He beat his man and then lost the ball. Or what he did is he took too many touches and lost the ball. There's one time on the edge of the box, he took a touch and I thought deliver, and then he took a touch and then he cut back and then he took a touch and I thought, this is where you need to play at men's level. You're too slow for the Premier League at the moment. You need to come on for the last 20 minutes, not start a game and
absolutely.
But the question is already
hope.
now. People are now judging him now because we put him in that position. That's
no,
the problem.
Alex, I don't think they are. I don't think people will judge him on that.
No, I'm not judging him.
But the point is, unfortunately, it's a ruthless life, right?
Well, he's still going to get looked on for it, Ian. People are looking at him today.
And I'm not saying it, but unfortunately, this is a ruthless life, right? It's a ruthless game, and the thing is, the club are responsible for this because they put it all out there and got the fans on and twerking for this whole thing, right? Saying, we need to put Werner in the squad to keep the space for Mikey Moore to go through, because we're worried about him going off to other teams because our English quote is so rubbish. And that's why we're keeping him right now. Well, no, it's not. It's other reasons as well, because he's too young. Yeah, but the question wouldn't be asked if we didn't have Timo Werner there and Alderberg, who's raw, and Son, that's probably getting injured most of the time because he's getting older now, right? If we have more established players in front of him, the question's not asked. The question's not there because Mikey Moore's not in spotlight.
He had a choice, Alex. He had a choice. He had a choice today. He had a choice. Does he play Werner, who's shot to pieces, or Moore, who's set?
He had no choice. Listen,
that was the choice he had.
I absolutely gave credit to Postecoglou for making that decision because he had no choice. He had no choice but to play Mikey Moore, right? Because if he didn't play Mikey Moore, it's setting a bad precedent. A really bad precedent because he's playing well, right? And this is where I go back on about backups not being good enough, right? Because I don't want backups anymore. I'm fed up at hearing got covers and backups. Because if we want backups, we should have got Bergwijn back and Harry Winks back and all these players back. You know what I mean? Because they weren't good enough for the club, so we stopped doing backups like this. And this was always going to happen.
But when I said this, Alex, I've got stipulations.
Can I answer this, James? Alex, we have never had proper strength in depth with established players the way the top clubs have. It's not us. That's not the business model.
That's why we're not going to win anything. That's why we're not going to win anything. Because if we're going to keep on doing this, Werner, if we're going to keep on doing these things, I'm just happy to sit on the bench. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're young. I don't care if you're all this. I don't care. I do not care. As far as I'm concerned, if you're in the squad, right? If you're in the squad, because like I said, now the backup is turned into the first team now.
Alex,
because
we've never had it.
Team is injured. That's
Alex,
it.
we never had it under Poch. We never had it under Harry. And
we're not learning, are we? We're not learning.
That's not what he's saying, Ian. He's saying it shouldn't be. It is. We know it is, but he's saying it shouldn't be like that.
Absolutely.
He's right but you're right as well.
This is nothing new. This is just a continuation of Enoch.
Yeah, but I can't remember about Enoch.
Look at the hysteria across our fan base. Look at the hysteria. Solanke's the perfect fit.
This is where I question the fan base. Because people were saying to me,
YouTubers and podcasters,
exactly. Because in pre-season, people were saying to me, "We need to sign a backup left back or a covered left back." And I said, I went on a few shows. I said, "Are you fucking crazy?" And they said, "No, we need a backup left back or someone to cover Van der Ven." I said, "No, what we need to do is improve the first team before we start worrying about a subs bench." And they went, "Well, what do you mean?" I went, "Well, shouldn't we get a striker, a right winger, and a left winger that's going to score us 20 goals each before we start worrying about can we get a backup for Van der Ven?" In my opinion, you buy your first team. You never go out and buy a sub. That for me is just fucking mind blowing.
I agree.
When I say Son is on the way down, I do believe that. I think Son's finished. I think he's a 20 to 30 minute player. I think he's a 30-minute player now. And for that reason, I would have brought in a proper left winger. I would have dropped him to the bench and said, right, 30 minutes. And if he comes in and scores an hat-trick, all right, you can the next game, no problem. Then when you don't, you're back on the bench again. But people don't like to hear that. People don't like to hear the truth. People don't like to listen to some things. They'll love to hold on to players and put them higher than they are. The likes of Son, the likes of Van der Ven. I said the same thing for Van der Ven. I said the same thing for Pape Sarr. I said the same thing for Udogie. No one listens until it gets to that point where what Tottenham do is they go past their peak and then they towel. Look at the criticism Hugo Lloris got. Let's be honest. 4 or 5 years ago, this guy was world class or banging on the door of world class. He was unbelievable. And then we keep him.
He was done 3 years by the time we sold him, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you go back 5 years,
I want to bring in Dan. Right. By the way, guys,
can I just say I'm going to go because my phone's going to die. I'm literally on 10%.
James, thanks for coming on as always, man.
Cheers, guys. Take care, mate.
Big up to James Flower.
Bye, James.
I want to bring on Dan. By the way, the link to everyone's chat I've put in the comments. Make sure you follow the channels of all the guests. Also, I haven't asked you actually. I might as well ask you. Smash a like for the show. How's about that? Smash a like. Right, Dan. I was on your channel the other day, the Spurs Dan list with you and Pete. And towards the end of the show, you said, right, Stel, Crystal Palace predictions. And I said to you, they're a bottom 10 team. We'll beat them. Don't worry. They'll probably score a goal. I think we win it 3-1. Okay. Even at 1-0 down at half time, I thought, yeah, we'll come out second half. We'll sort this out. You said to me, I don't know, Stel. I can see this one going wrong. And I'm like, yeah, Dan, whatever. You were spot on. So why did you think
first of all,
and what did you make of it all?
Yeah, well, first of all, hello everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Dan.
Obviously, I met a couple of you before, Dan and Stel, obviously. Yeah, man, it's bad times. Look, I've been listening in tonight, and this Ange guy, and I see the title of your show, Stel. Ange and fans are deluded. So can I have my say on that?
Of course you can. Say what you want.
Yeah.
Just don't wish anything evil on Daniel Levy. other than Levy out?
I didn't
So
wish.
for
I
me,
said it
I've been I've been thinking about Ange's excuses this season. After every game we've lost this season, I don't know if you guys remember, but the first excuse was we were wasteful against Leicester, wasteful in front of goal. Same thing with Newcastle. We weren't clinical enough. And he also blamed the Newcastle loss on the crowd. And you'll hear that one again in a minute. But while we've lost those 2 games, he keeps on saying that we're playing well and he wasn't worried. Arsenal came along. We're playing well again. Controlled the game, but lacked it in the final third. Brighton. Then we come up against Brighton. Should have scored more goals in the first half. But he wouldn't blame the players. He blamed himself after the Brighton game. And then he says, and I think this was last week. Yeah, it was Friday. He sees improvements this season because we have more possession. And then Palace comes along. What's he blaming this time? He's blaming the stoppages, being fouled. Palace battled better than us. And he also blamed the loss again on the crowd. Now, after 13 games this season, we're on something like, we're 9 games in, 18 goals. Let me get this right. 18 goals scored, 10 conceded. We've had 4 losses, 4 defeats, 1 draw. Last season, 23 points after 9 games, 21 goals conceded. 21 goals scored, 8 conceded, 7 wins, 2 draws. So we're 10 points less than last season. There's so much. Look, I'll try and get through it as quick as I can, yeah?
All right, just before you do, mate, I've got to say goodbye. My eyes are gone.
Sorry, Dan, mate. I was going on a bit there.
No, Dan. When Dan's meds kicking, he's got to go.
Yeah,
no worries,
I'll see you later on. Take care. Cheers for having us on. Still, see you later, everyone.
Take care, Dan.
Big up, Dan. Good debate tonight. Yeah, go on, Dan. Finish off your.
Sorry, there's more. So I think the mentality is getting worse. The mentality is getting worse. We've got no plan B. The in-game management continues to be a problem. Players are continuing to make the same mistakes. We're too easy to score against. We're now even losing to the lesser teams. What is getting better? The squad is weaker. Forwards are not good enough, in my opinion. The team lacks winners and leaders. He doesn't trust some of the signings he's brought. Bergvall, Gray, we don't see him. Byrne is still here. He makes poor subs. Look, the argument can go on and on. He refuses to adapt in games. There's nobody we have in the team who's calm on the ball when we're under pressure, can control the match. I don't think the Kulu and the Madison thing's working anymore either, especially away from home, I would say. He went along with that poor transfer window and he keeps saying it's all on him. Look, guys, I just think it's all going to end in one way. We're nowhere near good enough. And I just think, like, where's it all going, guys? It's just, we all know how it's going to end. Do you think that's fair, all I said? Or does anyone think anything is going well?
A lot of what you said is factual. Do you think Ange is going to end up getting the boot this season, Dan?
For sure. But I think Ange is in a job. Ange is in a job. We're nowhere near top 4 in the league. Ange is in a job as long as we've got a chance of winning the Europa League. It's as simple as that. As soon as that Champions League, as soon as the possibility of Champions League finishes, he's gone.
I was about to say, I was going to correct you on that, Ian. As long as we've got a chance of getting Champions League football next season, he's in a job.
And you know what? We are the same. You look at it. Man United. I see comments on here on Thursday night after we beat Alkmaar. People were saying, "Oh, United are still favourites." And look at United. Look at the mess they're in. And if United are favourites, and you look at the other teams that are there, Lazio are okay, not putting up any trees. You've got Porto, you've got Ajax. There are teams, but they're all inconsistent teams. It's the second level European competition for second level clubs. So we just may Not saying we will. We have as good a chance as any of 5 or 6 other teams of winning that competition. But we're nowhere near
Man United.
domestically.
I think we need to be careful what we say about Man United. I'll tell you why. Every year under Ten Hag, we call him out, and rightly so. Yet he wins a trophy at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised, come semi-final, final, he pulls out the bag and wins the Europa. Also, I watched their game today against West Ham. Let me tell you this. They battered West Ham. All over them. Hit the bar twice. Their keeper made a top save, West Ham's. Yeah. And then Dalot goes round the goalie, open goal, and smashes it over the bar. It was the worst miss of the season. They had so many chances. And even then at 1-1, the only reason West Ham won, it was the most diabolical VAR penalty decision of the season. Man U got robbed. Today wasn't a fair reflection. If there was justice, and I'm not defending Man United, I hope they get relegated. I don't like the club. Ever since that Pedro Mendes goal that was scored that was disallowed, I've hated them ever since then. Was that the 90s or was that the early 2000s? I can't remember. Do you remember that one from the halfway line that went in?
Yeah, I will never. Clattenburg.
2005, I think that was. 2004, 2005 season.
It's that game I've hated them, right? But today, Man U 100% deserve the win against West Ham. So
I'm still pissed off still. How you was watching how was you watching the Man United game at the same time as the Spurs game?
I had 3 things on. I had Spurs on a stream. I had Sky Sports for what do you call it?
But you're a man. You can't multitask.
Do we not think still? Do we not think
my feminine side came out today?
Still, do we not think that if you're looking at our team, firstly, the players are better than what they played today, and we were shocking today. Let's not dress it up.
I don't think Ange, when push comes to shove, he's not gonna.
It was garbage. But you know what? Still, it was a long way down against other games that we've played this season. It really was terrible today. It was one of the worst games.
We got lucky against Coventry. We got lucky against Karabag. We got lucky against Ferencváros, man. I think we're covering the cracks. Those games covered the cracks. Against who was that team? AZ Alkmaar. That could have easily finished a draw.
But guys, this Man United, I mean, the Europa League chance, yeah. I think we've got, our team is probably as good as many of the teams left in that competition. The problem is it's Ange, isn't it, and his tactics. And when we get to the latter stages, if we get there, he's going to come across better managers who are going to have better tactics, and we're just going to get knocked out.
I think we're going to have a problem with the squad, you see, because I just don't trust our squad to be good. Like I said, I think I see patterns in this team where when we have momentum, we're very good, but that momentum goes, we don't know how to get it back, and we saw this all last season as well. After the 10 games, I saw a pattern because I was at games and I saw Tottenham batter teams in certain times, and then when the momentum goes, boom, done. Can't get it back. Other teams, when the momentum's with the other team, they'll find a way. Like Arsenal are very good at doing that. They'll find a way to turn it, and that's it. And we just don't have the players to do it, and that's it for me.
But Alex, it's both. It's both, isn't it? It's the manager and the squad.
Yeah, well, listen, Dan, because I think you watched some of my videos. Thank you for watching them. Right, and commented it. Like, I've got nothing to go on this manager, and I said this in day dot. Like I said, I had loads of people have a go at me. Didn't want them on my shows. Now I have people that have said, "Oh, you were right to not go at this manager." Yeah, because my breaking point is done so long ago since Poch, because I just got nothing to go on at the moment. Got nothing to go on. I don't go on hype, and this guy is not showing me anything to show me that he's better than Poch in terms of coaching. Maybe a better manager than Poch. I don't know. But as a coach, I don't see him any better. I don't see him any better than some of the coaches at the moment. I see Emery at the moment for Aston Villa. And Aston Villa are very impressive at the moment. I'll tell you right now. They've got 2 games a week in major games against major teams. And they're turning up every single week.
They've got good
2
players,
games a week.
They've got good players.
Why is that still? Why is that still? Because they're getting good players in. And when we're not getting good players and we're saying they're doing it on a shoestring budget. And like I said, I've only said this once.
And imagine we took Lange off them.
My boy
We took Lange
Ismatic
off them.
on Tuesday nights does for free, shows me players for free
Alex, so wait.
on his channel.
At least give me a warning. Big up Tashmatic.
For free on his channel with the most underrated YouTuber, Marlon, right? Gives me players for free. And they're better than Timo Werner, better than Bentancur. You know what I mean? That Gomez player, it's a joke we didn't sign him. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
You talk about Angel Gomez?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Spurs are in the running for him for next season.
Well, we should have signed him now. What are we getting?
No.
So we're re-signing Werner again next year. So we're getting Werner again next year.
Alex, January the 1st, you can talk to him because he'll be on a free at the end of the season.
We needed him now because we're not even using Archie Gray.
We're not signing anyone in January.
We're not even using Archie Gray.
We've got Yang.
We only came interested after he played for England for the first time.
Well, no, yeah, but David, you see my point though. We're interested in him now.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's interested in now. But the thing is, though, we could have got somebody who wants to do something now. Stelios said I made a good point on Dan's channel. I think the first team's going all wrong, and they're basing it on the youngsters coming through right now, Archie Gray and Berval, but they're not ready yet. But the first team's going completely wrong.
What about a bid for Wharton in January, Alex?
I would have Wharton.
But you know me, Dan. Yeah, I'm very harsh with players. Yeah, I don't get sweet, but I've got to be honest. Walton really impressed me today. He was fantastic.
Do you know the problem with Crystal Palace players? There's a big problem. They're hard negotiators. They demand big fees and upfront. There's no payment plan over 5 years. They are the anti-Levy method of buying players. They're very good at this as well, and they won't budge. So unless Levy's prepared to budge, which is basically like asking.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. Still,
that's trying to part the ocean, isn't it? It's like trying to part the sea.
Hypothetically.
I thought Eze was absolutely fantastic as well. I thought Eze was fantastic as well, and it just shows you why we should have signed him as well. You know what I mean? Again, another player that's shown me, because
Alex, can I say something? We gave Eze so much. We never put a billion for Eze.
It was all rubbish. All the papers talked about it. Parish came out and said nobody bid for Eze. They didn't get one bid during the summer. Not one.
All the journalists lied. I knew it.
And one person was all rubbish. We've got the same agency as Eze. Oh, please don't give me that crap.
Sorry, who's got the same
crap?
Huh? 1 minute. I think we gave Eze so much time to play today.
Alex,
we gave him a lot of freedom on the pitch.
Trust me on this. They did not bid for Eze. Remember that.
We didn't bid for Eze.
Trust me on that.
Yeah,
they did not bid for Eze. Ange didn't want him. Remember that.
I remember that. Then that's but the thing is though, all I was hearing
tell Lars from
other
Spurs,
people,
tell Chris Cowley,
other people, Ian, all I was hearing on YouTube, he's got the same agency. We're really interested.
Yes, he has got the same agency. Ange wanted Gallagher. He wanted Gallagher the whole summer. That's all he wanted was Gallagher. And I think Neto. I think they were interested. The papers were coming across with Neto.
And then when they went to Chelsea, it's like, oh, we don't want him. No, he's too injury prone. Oh, bloody hell, you really did want him. We did want him. We did want him. Oh, my gosh. I would have him tomorrow over some of the players we've got.
To be fair, if we signed Eze, we would have turned him into mud anyway, the way we play. we wouldn't have got the best out of him.
Still, Parish came out and said nobody bid for Eze during the summer.
This is why.
Yeah, but I don't reckon that was because of his high upfront cost.
It was nothing to do with that. He had a contract, so he had a release clause in his contract. The press got hold of it. They came out with it. The press.
But the release
contract was.
The release clause was like 55, 60 mil up front.
60. I think it was 60 million. They said. Plus,
we just said
55 or 60.
Just
It was only like 60 million, I think.
Yeah, but up front, and most transfers these days are done.
it was
Right,
up
I'll
front.
give
Never
you
up front.
a quarter now, a
David.
quarter later.
David, the only one that was over 2 years that I was told was the Declan Rice one, and I heard this through a pal of mine who's got contacts at West Ham.
But that's irrelevant to the question I'm asking.
Ian, no, hold on. You're going off on a tangent here. This is not. Sorry,
they're all over 5 years normally transfers, or three to 5 years.
No, hold on. When it's an English player, you can't structure it over 5 years. There's rules in place by the FA to protect English clubs that the majority of the money has to go early doors in order for that club not to be left in debt. There's rules in the FA when you buy English players. Also, Palace do this. They're notorious for it. The reason Arsenal bought Pepe for 72 million is because they could pay for him over 5 years. Wilfred Zaha is the player they wanted, but they had to pay something like 45 million up front. They weren't prepared to do it. Palace are like that. We would have had to pay a big chunk up front.
So my point, Ian, was going on from Stell's point, was because his first initial instalment was so high, whilst an official bid did not go in, I agree with you that no bids went in. But you telling me no club, including our own Tottenham, didn't go in there and say, right, there's 20 mil first, and then we'll give you 20 mil 6 months or whatever it is.
No.
Forget the dates. No. But let's just say, for argument's sake, we'll go 20. So they didn't have that conversation, is what you're saying, because an official bid, because of his contract, they'd have to go 55 million for it to make it an official bid. Are you telling me the conversation didn't happen in the background where they went, okay, I appreciate his contract says 55 mil in one lump sum, but can we not do a bit of a deal where we go, we'll give you a bit extra longer term, but instead of 55, we give you 25 initially, and then 25 later, and then another 25 later.
Listen, there was a release, whatever it was, the release clause with a payment schedule, whatever it was, and that was on a contract.
Yeah, I know.
And that was it. Whatever it was, Spurs didn't make the offer. There was no offer.
Yeah, no. So my question to you is, when you say there's no bid, I appreciate
David, if they'd have wanted him, they paid 57 million for Solanke before add-ons.
Yeah, but we haven't paid 57 million for Solanke in one go. Correct. No one does anymore. No, transfers don't work
absolutely
that way.
Right. Nobody does anymore. Arsenal, as I say, Arsenal had to pay over 2 years.
But that's my question to you, Ian. I appreciate no bid?
I haven't seen the contract, David. All I know, Parish has come out and said none of them.
At least ask the question.
I wasn't part of the conversation.
Ian, what David is saying is the reason we didn't put a bid in is because we didn't like the payment concept. Whereas with other players, where you can pay over 3-4 years, they're the kind of deals we prefer, so we don't tie up all the capital up front. But because in the contract it says you can have him, but you got to pay this much up front, we weren't going to put a bid in because the way we had to pay it didn't suit us. That's what he's saying.
Well, that's Levy's prerogative, isn't it?
And the only thing I'm picking up on
if we were serious, maybe they would have gone ahead and bought him.
That's what I'm picking up on. You said no bid went in, but that doesn't mean that we didn't try.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed if what.
Look, guys, at the end of the day, we didn't get him, did we? We didn't get him.
No, you're absolutely right, Dan. You're absolutely right.
Talking for like the whole thing is a sham. It's a sham.
I'm just pulling up on the fact that he was trying to imply that we didn't even try it, and no one tried. I'm sure we tried as Spurs, and another club tried, and they went to Crystal Palace, and fair play to Crystal Palace, by the way, for sticking to this and saying, no, if you want him, it's X, Y, and Z. And no one went X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't mean that clubs didn't go in for Eze and went, oh, by the way, we want to try and sign you, but we're going to try and do it a bit clever.
Well, I think what happened was they lost Elise to Bayern Munich for big money. And then for them to release Eze, they're going to want probably a little bit more as well. now because they've lost one of their assets. And Glasner, if he's got anything about him, he would have said, fine, if you're going to sell me Eze, you better spend big on some replacements. Otherwise, this job is untenable. And I think that because we acted so slowly and Bayern came in and kind of changed maybe the circumstances at Crystal Palace, that then made our situation harder to get him. But Dan's right. We didn't get him in the end.
No,
never signed him.
It's irrelevant. But I think we went in for him. We said, here, have a walk around the cockerel on top of our stadium to start off with. We'll give you £5 million in 20 years, and then we'll pay it off weekly after that. We'll send Rodney Trott around to pick it up £1 a week.
And here's a couple of skywalks for the family.
Exactly. I appreciate that we probably didn't put a bona fide offer in, but I disagree with that we didn't go in at all. We did go in. It was just so low below what Crystal Palace wanted.
Listen, they sound out loads of different players, don't they? Every club does.
Yeah, exactly. And it weren't just us that went in for him.
I want to bring up one last topic before we wrap it up because it's been going on for a while now, and it's just not a long conversation, just very brief. So we're back in action pretty soon, and what a game to try and bounce back from this loss. That's right. We'll be live that night. It's Spurs v Man City in the Carabao Cup. The beauty of this game is this. We have no idea what the lineups are going to be. Spurs might go strong and City might go weak. City might actually go a little bit strong and we might go a little bit strong. Both teams might go weak. I think personally Ange is going to rotate because we've got another game on the weekend in the league and he's proven that he's rotating. I don't think he's going to go full strength against Man City. That's my personal opinion. And because we don't go full strength, it opens the door for Man City's B team, if it's the B team, to have a right go. I don't know how this game ends. I don't even know what to predict because it's all about the team lineups for me. What do you guys think? Are we going to beat them or is it impossible to even know unless we see the teams? And what do you think the teams will look like?
I think their B team will be stronger than our B team, personally.
You think it's the two B teams that are going to basically play on the day, Ian?
You got to remember he's got Villa, then Galatasaray, hasn't he? Straight after. So,
yeah. Spot on.
Look, guys, the cups for me is the only thing we've got the rest for the season. So, look, magic of the cup maybe on Wednesday. You know, underdogs, us being the underdogs, plucky underdogs. You never know. We might nick it. We're so unpredictable, aren't we? You just don't know.
We have to go strong.
Before the Palace game, I was a little bit more confident. But after that Palace match, I ain't got a lot of hope. That was diabolical today. Absolutely diabolical. And I don't know. Honestly.
And that was our A team. And that was the A team.
Yeah, exactly. Still, it was the A team.
I think we have to go strong. We have to go strong in some.
Yeah, we have to go strong. We have to.
We have to go strong.
But will he, when he's got Aston Villa in a couple of days' time and then Galatasaray midweek, will he? Can he afford to do it?
Well,
if he doesn't, sack him at half time. Honestly, if he doesn't go strong, sack him. Do a Martin Yole. Like it's just not good enough. He's got to play the full strength side in that match. He can't be.
Do you think people? But do you think he
will?
I don't think he will.
I think it'll be almost.
If he doesn't, he doesn't. Well, that just shows you where we're going with this now. But for me, he has to play the first. He has to.
For any chance to get through, he has to.
I think it's. I don't even just think it's about getting through. I think it's just sending out a statement at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You know, but I think the cups. I think the cups are important in that sense for him at the moment. But yeah, I just think at the moment he has to play his first team. He has to, because I think it's kind of sending out a message. Also, I think you have to worry about the next game in that sense. He's got the squad he's got, and he knew what he had at the beginning. He said he was happy with the squad, so he's just got to make it work, and that's it for me. So there's no point of us, saying about we need to rotate and stuff like that. And if he has to play the youngsters, he's got to play the youngsters as well. I mean, it's like, if it's a youth project, you use the youth. because they're good for, if they're in the squad, they're good enough for the squad. If they're just not good enough, well, you should not have them in the first place. You should have put them on loan. And these are the games that, you know, they're going to show that they're good enough, and that's it. I don't know what Man City are going to do, but they're going to obviously play the same way that they did before, and that's it. But I think it's going to be a very tight game, to be honest with you. Whoever's got the bottle, I think, will win.
I know what Man City are going to do. They're going to change the entire 11 and play a completely different 11. We're probably going to do somewhere in between. And I reckon us winning this game and going on to win this cup is going to be a harder proposition for us than it will be winning the Europa League overall, even though we got more games to win the Europa League than we have for this cup. I just think the domestic competitions are harder to win for this very reason. Man City put out their second team. They will change everyone from the goalkeeper to the striker. Every single player will be changed and rotated. Maybe one or two won't be, but hypothetically, let's just say they will be. And they're still going to be stronger than most teams we play in the Europa League. We're at home. I want us to go out there and win the game and dominate the game. And I want to see Ange put out his strongest possible team. We mentioned we got Villa. I agree. That's a game we've got to take into consideration. The Galatasaray one, we don't have to. We got points on the board in the Europa League. We can play around with that fixture. Play the youth team in that because we've got 9 points on the board. The way the Europa League and the Champions League are structured now, it's a Mickey Mouse competition to qualify for the next round. And we've got
Dan,
9 points on the board.
Can I
Dave,
throw a curveball there?
by the way. Too many Dans, Dave.
Yeah, I know. It's late at night as well. I'm just mixing.
Yeah, I know.
Throw a curveball there. Let's say we get knocked out by Man City in the Carabao Cup. So this is a hypothetical. Then we play Villa and we lose. Suddenly, that game against Galatasaray that we can afford to lose, you can't lose 3 on the bounce, though. So doesn't that Galatasaray game depend on the 2 previous games?
Yeah, I know, but my thinking is if you're building the squad or picking a squad, looking ahead, because managers do that. They always say, oh, we take 1 game at a time, don't they? Every single manager says we take 1 game at a time, but they don't. They look ahead. And we've got the big Aston Villa game, and I totally agree that there's going to be a little playing around for the Aston Villa game. But the Galatasaray game is A, too far away, and B, quite irrelevant because we've got the points on the board. I agree if you're sitting there saying, hypothetically, if we lose these 2 games, of course the Galatasaray game becomes more important because we've lost 3 on the bounce, including the Palace game, and we've got to win the Galatasaray game. But we can lose the Galatasaray game and still qualify for the Europa League next stages, right?
I still fancy, David, Sonny and Solanke against defence with Davinson Sanchez.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even worried about the Galatasaray. I'm talking about like the Man City game.
You're right. You're right. If you lose to City, you're out. You're quite right. You're out. You lose to Galatasaray, you got 4 more games.
I would rather us go out because Man City, and starting off with my first comment, Man City will change every single player in their team. Now, Man City are a well-structured machine. Okay, you can talk about all the charges against them, but they are run well in terms of a footballing structure because every single youth player that comes through that system plays the Man City way. The Pep Guardiola, and I can't pronounce his name. It's got too many X's, T's, but he's director of football that was with him at Barcelona. They're all brought up the same way. That's the one. Thank you very much. But any single youth player that comes in is going to be a decent player that follows the system. They're not some like, oh, bloody hell, a fish out of a tank here. They're going to play all right. But because of that reason, I would rather we go out with our full strength side against Man City because that's the best chance we got beating Man City if we have our first team against their second team. Okay, it makes our chances against Aston Villa slightly less. But, you know, play the game in front of you. Put your strongest team out against Man City. Get through to the next round of the Cup. Because if you knock Man City out in this round,
you're in the
there is less competition. Exactly. You're further to the trophy, and you're knocking out the most dangerous team in that trophy in the process. And I guarantee you, Man City will be putting out their weakest squad. And I'm putting that in quotations because they haven't got a weak squad, but it'll be weaker than their first 11. Go out there, put your finest team that you can put together, Ange. Go and win that game because it puts us into the next round of the cup if you win. And we're still in a hunt for a trophy. Go to Aston Villa. Couple of players are going to be a bit tired. Fuck them. They get paid enough. Make them go out there and beat Aston Villa, or at the very least, don't lose. Galatasaray, as I say, 3 games along the road. We've got 9 points already on the board. We can lose that 5-0. It don't really matter. That's how I would play it. I'm not saying that's what will happen. That's how I would play it.
Is anyone brave enough to call it on Wednesday? Anybody?
Yeah, we lose.
I think, Dan, after having come through this afternoon, I think probably not in the right frame of mind to make a prediction. It's just very, very low at the moment after what I saw.
I think
you lose games. You lose games, but to lose the way we did today,
it was very
bad. Unacceptable.
I don't think we beat Man City unless we go full strength. If they put a B team and we put a semi B team, I think they edge it on penalties or something like that. But if we go full strength and they go weak, I think we knock them out.
If he goes to penalties, I would fancy Vicario.
I can't call it because I don't know what terms Spurs turn up as far as I'm concerned.
This is it. This is it. This is what we are. We just don't know.
I don't like. Like I said, I don't like my team. I don't like the team at the moment. I don't like the squad. I didn't have a good feeling when I don't have a good feeling. They had Southampton. They drew. I mean,
no, coming up this weekend.
Who won 1-0?
No, who have they got after us? They've got Bournemouth away next. That's a tough game. They've got Bournemouth
Pep's
away.
already said it. He's dropping the players. Pep's already said it yesterday. He's dropping.
Yeah, but you know what?
Most of the players.
You know, I'm not just say that. I never believe it until I see it. Sometimes they just drop these little. Yeah,
but he always has done in this cup. And you know what? He still wins. Wins it.
I just think at the moment, I think the problem is we ain't got the winning mentality at the moment, and I think that's where it is. And I said already, I just think the 3 things that are important in a team that we haven't got is arrogance. Well, the 4 things, counting the 2 words for one thing that I'm talking about is arrogance and swag, composure and leadership. And I think it was just missing from this team all day long. All day long, and it just we ain't gonna get it because we need to buy it in. We ain't got it, and I just think at the moment, you see with Man City, they find a way. They always find a way. They've got the same way of playing, but the players are good at what they're doing at the moment.
And they got Sporting Lisbon after Bournemouth away.
Yeah, and I think and the way that Guardiola, I mean, the goal that he scored against Wolves. I wouldn't see it from any of our. Well, you could say maybe Van der Ven.
No, Porro.
Porro. I mean, but Porro can do more for me. I've said that I'd rather him having the final third. I think, like I said, we're a moments team at the moment, and whether we have the better moments in the game, maybe we could do it. I think we're good at home in that sense, so we could win.
Where you say moments,
Alex,
where you say moments. It's down to we rely on individual brilliance rather than a tactics and a system.
Well, I don't know if it's individual brilliance because I don't see that special player. I've said we're missing a lot, and I've said it a lot on my channel and stuff. And I just think it's just, I just don't see it at the moment. And even if we do get through, I'm just unsure we've got the mentality to win it. I just don't think we have it.
I agree with you, Alex. That's why I think we need to play our best team possible to have the best chance possible.
For sure.
We do. What do you think people will play in the midfield? Guys, who would you play in the midfield?
I've got no idea.
But if you could choose, Alex, if you were the manager, who would you pick?
At the 3 midfielders, I play maybe Maddison, Kulu, and Bentancur just out of default.
Okay.
And you hate
David, Ian.
Sorry?
What would you play?
I would go the same with Alex, but he doesn't rate Bentancur, and that shows you how much he thinks of our lack of squad depth, because he's picked Bentancur because he is the best choice, and he doesn't even rate Bentancur. But I would go with the same three.
I'd play Kulu or Madison. I'd play Sarr and probably Bentancur.
Okay. Still, who are you playing against City in the midfield?
I'd go strong. I'd go. Basuma, Bentancur, Kulu.
See, I don't like Basuma in that. I don't like Basuma in that number 4, whatever defensive role. I don't like it.
Then it's Bentancur as the 6, and then Madison as the 8.
Yeah. I just think, I just don't rate the team at the moment. I really don't, and it's not even that. Like I said, I'm not even that. Listen, I was like, I wasn't going mad about it because I don't really care anymore. Like, I really don't care anymore because I'm not like fussed anymore. It's the same thing I've seen for the last 4 years on YouTube. So it's like
you become numb to it all, don't you? That's what happens. You become numb to it all.
Well, I just don't care.
It's
anymore.
the perfect time to advertise his channel at the bottom there. I'm done with it. I'm depressed.
Well, no,
but by the way,
it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just like I'm just like, what is the big deal? It's like, and then you see fans doing what they're doing. It's like, well, good on you. Well, good to you, bro. If you want to do that on your channel, it's cool. You know what I mean? But
listen, I don't care.
What they doing?
I don't care what anyone says on any channel, any platform. I'll call them all out, right? Because I've never in my life ever been called the word negative and toxic so much in the last 6 months in my life. Listen, I live an all right life. I'm okay. I get to go on my holidays. I've got quite flexible free time on my hands. I can do a few things that I want. I'm a happy bunny. When it comes to Spurs, I can't stand the club. I can't stand the way we buy players and the transfers. And I hate the way our fans get sucked in and waffle, right? And I get called negative for calling it all out. And then these results that you see, all it does is just prove me right again and again. And the one thing I've said to so many fans is, I've been right for 10 years. Come end of May, talk to me. If we don't win a trophy at the end of this season, that's 11 years in a row, I'll be right. I don't think we're winning jack shit this season. I don't think we're winning anything.
The thing that annoys me...
We might come really close, by the way. We might come really, really close. But I just know that Ange is just going to shoot us in the foot at the worst possible moment.
The thing that annoys me is when the people say that we win, can you be happy? Can you be happy? It's like, I don't need to be happy because I've seen this before. Like, I can be happy watching something else, doing something else. Like, we don't see it because I don't go on about... Alex doesn't need to go on about his life. You know what I mean? It's like, but when I'm on YouTube and Mr. Box Office, I don't really care. I don't care. Like I said, I've seen it before. Like, so, you're not happy. Why can you not be happy? It's like, no, I don't need to show you I need to be happy to be a Tottenham fan. I don't need to show you. You get what I'm saying? It's like, but you're not giving him credit. You need to give him credit. It's like,
beating West Ham,
I've said it a little bit for you.
Beating Fenerbahce.
I'm not saying it 20 million times to you.
It's not a masterclass.
No,
go
still.
beat City, go beat Chelsea, go beat Arsenal, go beat Brighton and Newcastle, and then I'll say, do you know what? That was a masterclass.
It's just like when the fans, and I'm gonna say his name, Barnaby on We Are Tottenham TV. Honestly, I swear right now, Mr. Box Office needs to have an appointment with him because I'm gonna banter him into flipping pieces on We Are Tottenham TV. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah. He says, if you're on the calling show, says, at least you're not going and having a meltdown like some of these other people are. And I'm like, bro,
Alex, when the final whistle goes, or sorry, when the first whistle starts, forget my feelings about Levy, forget my feelings about Ange. The game starts, you're 100% behind the team. You want the team to win. And if we win, I'm happy. The rest of it, you got to enjoy that moment.
No, I don't.
You enjoy the moment. You enjoy a win. No. If you can't enjoy a win, you're not going to enjoy a draw or a defeat.
Ian,
what's the point?
I feel nothing. This is where I disagree with you. I feel nothing And I mean it. I feel nothing when we beat average teams. It does nothing for me because I'm used to that. I gave my analogy last time. If you pull a 4 out of 10, if you pull a 3 out of 10, after a while you start pulling 3s and 4s. Like, it does nothing for me. I need a 6 now. I need to get me one of these 6 out of 10. Then when you get, you need the 8, you need 9. I am so used to us beating 3 and 4s out of 10. It does nothing for me. It literally, I'm fair play to Levy.
They are the views of Stell. Any 3s and 4s out of there, give me a shout.
But it's just like it's not even me. It's not even me having a go. It's not even me. It's not even me having a go. It's just listen, Ian. I respect you, bro. But like I said, I don't agree with you on that point because at the same time, because I'm consistent. I am consistent. I've been consistent since Poch left. Yeah, and there's a reason why I'm acting the way I acted like since Poch has left. Because I was actually like others. Yeah, I was believing in the team. I didn't even like Poch at the beginning, but he persuaded me. But why is it not happening with Postecoglou right now with me? There's a reason why it's not happening with Postecoglou. Even Villas-Boas was getting me on board.
Okay, right.
Even Villas-Boas got me on board. And
Alex,
Villas-Boas, I didn't even like him in the first place as well.
You see, I can separate the two. I can separate how I feel about our chances as a club or the non-chances as a club under the owners, under this manager. But when I go and watch a game, I'm paying to watch a game. I'm invested in the team. I'm taking an afternoon or an evening out to go and watch them. And if they win, I'm happy because they've won. And if they lose, I'm really pissed off. And if they lose the way they lost today, I'm triple pissed off.
Ian,
but
do you know what they call it?
If it's Ian, I'm not even that bothered.
No,
but I get your point. I'm not having a go at you. I'm not saying.
Listen, we're all different. We're all different.
I'm not dissing you. I respect what you're saying because you travel a long way. So I'm not having a go at you. So just to make that clear. You know what I mean?
No. The kids call it vibes. You're just there for the vibes. That's what they call it.
I'm there for the vibes. Do you know what? The adrenaline rush. You saw what it was like behind the goal at Old Trafford a few weeks ago. It was a great buzz still.
Yeah,
all the goals were a buzz. 3 minutes, you're 1-0 up. The fans sung the whole afternoon. As an afternoon, you turned around still and you said you can't remember a better away trip for some time. And you were
because
right.
I've lost every time I've gone away. That was my first ever away trip.
Well, fair enough. But it was a great afternoon, wasn't it? And we all enjoyed it. The team played well. And you come away from the Old Trafford and you got a smile on your face.
I enjoy meeting people at the stadium.
That's what football's meant to do, isn't it?
I enjoy meeting people at the stadium.
No,
I do enjoy watching other fans at the stadium. I do. When I go to the stadium and I see other people, that's enjoyable, and I see that from other fans as well. That's why you go to football, because I actually enjoy going and watching football, real-time football at the stadium. I do enjoy that. Yeah, I do enjoy that. Even if we lose, because I can take an analysis of it. I can see it real time. It's nothing like it going to games. And I understand going to away games is different experience as well. I understand that. I get it.
No, I disagree. The majority of fans say stuff like that because it's vibes, right? Daniel Levy is his worst enemy, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he's his worst enemy. What he did was big upside. He must have heard us talking about him earlier. Listen, you're in the mud, by the way. Man United, you're in the mud. Big up. As a top 6 club, it's different. If we were Palace, if we were Brighton, if we were Brentford, and we got into Europe, I'd be delirious. Or if we survived not getting relegated, I'd be ecstatic. But as a big 6 club, to never win trophies, and we're called a big 6 club, it's a bloody disgrace of the highest level. We are a joke, a complete comedy. So when we beat West Ham, when we beat Brentford, I don't care. I'm a big 6 club. That is basic. That should be the minimum expectation. For me, I don't get excited by it anymore. And I blame Levy partly because in the 90s, we were a mid-table club, but we won a couple of trophies and it kind of kept our spirits there or thereabouts. Levy turned us into a top 4 team, Champions League, getting to a Champions League final, getting to the odd semi-final. He took us to there. But what he's done now is he refuses to go the final step. So I'm stuck as a fan because you've taken me from here to the gates, but you won't open the fucking gates. We've gone from hell to heaven. Open the gates. I want to come in. And he won't open the door. So now we're stuck banging on that door.
Can I just say this? Can I just say this?
Why, but Alex, 1 minute. This is why I don't get excited by any of it. Because when we beat a team from hell, so what? We're past that. We left that years ago. We left beating these teams years ago. Poch and Redknapp gave me wins against Arsenal, wins against Chelsea, wins against United, wins against Cities and Liverpool. They gave me that. So now that's what I want. So he's his worst enemy because he gave us it, but he won't give us the last piece. It's almost like, I'm going to make you a cake, but you're never going to get custard or ice cream with it. But I want the custard. It's the last bit. I need the ice cream to make it great. And this is what he's done. So for me, when we beat teams from where we were 10 years ago, Ian, it doesn't do anything for me anymore.
So
it just doesn't. I don't enjoy it.
All I will say is this, yeah, right? We're saying all this that we need to be happy. You need to be happy. Did Sol Campbell say that when he left Tottenham, right? Did Sheringham say that? Yeah. I bet they're always right. And the thing is, though, it hurts because we still sing that song about Sol Campbell, which is disgraceful, by the way. We still sing it. If we were winning trophies right now, would we still singing that song right now? No, we wouldn't be.
But Alex, the whole
still singing that song.
If we won a trophy, the whole dynamic around podcasts, around fan bases, around Twitter, around everything would be completely different. Because this fan base has been starved of success now. I mean, this is the 17th year if we don't get anything.
Well, that's why we keep on singing the Sol Campbell song, Ian. That's why we keep on singing that stupid.
They keep singing the Nicola Bertie song today. It's ridiculous.
They keep on singing it on because they can't take the fact that this guy left the club because he needs to win trophies and he won trophies.
No, yeah? I think Alex, Spurs brought him through from the age of 12 and he was
Sol Campbell.
I don't care. I don't care, David. I don't care. I do not care. Sol Campbell did what he did, and look what's happened right now. He's still made it right. He's still shown us. He's shown. He's today. He's still singing that song because we've done nothing since he left this club. And
listen,
that's it.
We could win the quadruple for 40 years on the bounce, and I still hope we sing that song about that cunt. Sorry for using that language.
I'm sorry. That sums it all up, and that's it. Because as far as I'm concerned, he even went to bloody Portsmouth and won an FA Cup for goodness sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I still cheered that, hoping he broke his leg while playing for Pompey.
And also the
when
most
he went
ruthless guy,
when he went to Notts County,
left this club for trophies for Man United. Look who's
Sheringham
right
was
again.
different. Sheringham was different.
I'm sorry.
Alex,
Proof hurts. Come from Mr. Box Office again. That's all.
Sheringham was different.
Alex.
Sheringham done his bit for Tottenham, and he respectfully left to go to Man United. Won the treble with them, and then came back and helped us out again. Sol Campbell didn't. He's an absolute Judas because of the way he went about it, not because of what he'd done. There's a difference. It's the way he went about it.
The other thing also,
unfortunately, this is what happens when you need to want to do something more in your career.
I hope every time he walks down to the newsagents to pick up a paper, I know it's a bit old school, he trips over the pavement, smashes his face. Every single day he steps out of his house. Fuck him.
Oh, that's not.
We need to have a conversation about the Hotspur hood. We've got Dan wishing death on Levy. We got David wanting Sol Campbell's face to get smashed in.
It's the first time I've ever gone to that level.
Can I just say,
we don't condone violence. We don't condone violence.
No. Still, can I just say, it wasn't only the fact that he left to join Arsenal. It was the fact
I wasn't condoning violence, by the way. I was hoping he'd trip up and smash his face.
David.
No, but David, you know.
Man United did 15.
He wasn't condoning violence, just harm just harm to come to him.
Still, Man United bid 15
Jelly
million
and ice cream.
a
Jelly
year
and ice
earlier.
cream.
A year earlier. If he had no intention of signing the contract with Spurs the following year, he could have left and gone to United, who were the top team at the time, and Spurs would have had 15 million, which they would have deserved because they worked with him and they brought him through from the age of 12. But he didn't do that. He screwed Spurs. Not only did he screw them and go to Arsenal, he screwed them, lied to the fans, said, yeah, I'm going to sign. Then he went to Arsenal and he cost the club a transfer fee as well. So it wasn't just the fact he went to Arsenal.
Yeah, no. I don't think fans are upset he left because we're used to all our top players leaving at some point. Like Harry Kane, the most recent one. It's the fact he went to them, innit? If he went to anywhere else, we would have been like, you bastard, but we get it. Going to them was like, that's it, you're done.
But he made the right choice, though, because he won trophies. What did we win? We won one Carabao Cup.
Alex,
Alex, I agree with that. But it's the fact that he said he was staying.
David, I get where the hurt. I get the hurt, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm pointing at.
Any top club he went to, he would have won trophies. Alex, any top club he went to, he would have won trophies. If he went to United, he would have won it all there. He chose them.
The greatest football mind was asked which team was going to win the World Cup semi-final out of two teams, and he picked a third team that weren't even in it. Delusional.
Bro, this is just
jelly and ice cream. Move on. Anyway, why are we talking about this scumbag?
David, unfortunately, truth hurts. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, this was in our child. This is in my childhood. Do you see what I'm saying?
No,
you know, I'm growing up.
I agree with you, Alex. Why he left, he was proven right because he went on to win things. I would never disagree with that argument. My argument is he's a despicable human being, and I don't like him. And we should never mention his name. So let's quickly move on to someone else. Nicola Bertie is held in higher esteem in this club than that man.
Right. No more Campbell. No more Nicola Bertie. We're going to
Goran Bunjasevic. Now there's a Spurs legend.
What?
When did he play for us?
Bunjasevic for Spurs, wasn't he?
Yeah, God bless his soul. Rest in peace.
Well, like I said before, I'm Mr. Box Office, the main event. I'm only going to talk.
Glenn Otherwear.
Listen, I'm the main event.
When we smashed Chelsea in the League Cup, weren't it?
Listen, I'm the main event, yeah, right. I'm gonna say whatever I need to say, yeah. And if I'm gonna put a grenade in the room, I'm gonna put a grenade in the room.
You mention that man's name, you'll be in the bin with him.
Yeah. Well, David, Mr. Box Office is always going to cause that stir, and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm always a stirrer, like you always doing your thing.
Well, they do say they're struggling to sell tickets, so carry on, Alex.
Very funny. You're not going to last 5 minutes in the changing room with me, bro. You know what I mean? In terms of battling me, debating me, bro. You know what I mean? You're going to have to try a little bit harder than that, bro, and that's it for me. You know what I mean? You already just got rattled by my comment about Sol Campbell. Anyway, back to you. Still, I'm done. I've rattled this.
The other talking point today was how disgusting Levy has treated the fans again over the cost of Roma tickets.
No. Do you know what, Ian? I'm not even going to discuss it. Do you know why? Because until the Spurs Supporters Trust pulls their finger out their arse and starts arranging boycotts of the games, I don't want to know. I'm not. I got message today about protesting this. I said I'm not doing anything. Get the other people on board that don't come on board, and then I'll come back. It's a waste of time. Levy does it all the time. He's always going to do it because his fan base accepts it. What I do want to know, though, sorry to cut you off there. It's just I can't do any more Levy bloody moans and groans. I want to get everyone's prediction for the Man City game. I know it's an impossible thing to ask. We don't know the team lineups, but what's your feeling? And then we'll wrap it up. So, Ian, what do you think score-wise and...
2-0 City.
2-0 Man City. Wow. Toxic week coming up.
Hope I'm wrong.
David?
Hope I'm wrong.
Well, listen, I hope we play our strongest team. I know Man City are playing their second team, and even that worries me. I hope we win, but I don't think we will. I think we go out of the cup. I don't know how, but I think their second team does our first team, and a couple of extra players in there thrown in. Sadly.
What's your prediction? Score prediction?
I still think we'll get a goal. But I think Man City's second team, they're so well trained that they do us 2-1. It don't go to penalties. It doesn't go to extra time. They do us in 90.
I think we're going to go penalty. I think we're going to go penalties 1-1, and I think Man City win.
Man City on penalties. Down the list. You got the last one right, West Ham. Will you get this one right?
I think we're going to win. We have to win. Do I believe it? No. But look, 2-1. Let's just go for it. Put it out there.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I think Spurs 2-1. I think we're going to do it against a very... Oh, do you know what? I'm being stupid here, aren't I? What the fuck am I talking about?
Funnier things that happened.
City on penalties. City to win it on penalties. Yeah, I'll go with that. City to win on penalties. All right, listen, everyone. Big up. Thank you to all the super chats. We had quite a few tonight. William, A user, edX, A user again, edX, and then Artist with 3 super chats. Thank you for that. Artist 4, beg your pardon. Marlon, big up to you as well. And Christopher. Thank you, everyone, for all your supports, donations. Everyone in the chat tonight, incredible. We've had tonight so far 4,500 views. Wow, big show.
Wow.
It's been a while since we had a big one. Big up to everyone on the show. Ian, David, Dan List Box Office. We also had Hasber on. We had Maz. There's one person we saw. And Dan, big up to them as well. All the links are in the chat. James as well. Big up to James. He was a good banter tonight. We will be back on Wednesday, actually. On Wednesday, we've got our every fortnight we do Have Your Say or Hide Online show. So come and have your say or hide behind your keyboards. And then on Thursday, we've got Spurs v Man City late night show. Come and check that one out as well. Yes, Ian.
What time's your Wednesday show? Before the match, I presume.
Oh shit! Is the Man City game on Wednesday?
Yeah.
8:15.
So glad you mentioned that. Now, hold on, what have I done? Right, I'll put a post on the community page because clearly I've messed that one right up. So I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'll let you know what we're going to do. Ian, thanks for letting me know. David, you got any plans this week for your channel?
I think that's one for Danny to mention because I am useless as a co-host. But I'm sure there'll be something going on. Hotspur Hood, follow us up on there, and then you'll get notifications that way. I think I've saved it.
Dan normally goes live kind of early morning between 10 and 12, or he goes lunchtime type. So check out Dan. He normally goes live. Alex, when are you next on? When's your next spoiler alert?
I have an interesting week next week. Very interesting week next week. So just keep watch. Maybe even next couple of weeks, you'll be interested to know where Mr. Box Office is because he ain't going to be in England. I'll tell you that for a fact. But yeah, just keep looking, keep watching, keep locked in, and that's it. Because you know where Mr. Box Office is going to do. He's going to be always unleashing and always keeping those vibes, and that's it. And that's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? Because you know how it goes every single time. If you don't know, get to know. And that's a saying that people need to get to know, and that's it. Because I've been telling you so long about this manager and everything else about this club, and that's it. Back to you still. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out off to bed. But big up everybody. I'm out of here.
Check out Alex's next show. He'll be on the beach. Oh, he's gone. All right, bye. Cheers, Alex.
I'm still trying to work out what I've got to get to know.
Listen, we've been waiting for a long time, but one day we will. Dan, you got any shows or anything planned this week?
Yeah, we have a show Tuesday. Hold on 1 second.
Can I have the charger?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second.
The one time you got to plug your channel of all the timings to ask you for the phone charger. Brilliant.
Yeah, sorry. Let's start again. Yeah, myself, Nige, Purecoys, back on Tuesday, 7:30. Got a special guest coming on, so yeah, should be good. Come on.
Who's your guest this week?
Well, yeah. I don't know. Ash. It's Ash. I think it's Ash. Ashmatic.
Oh, brilliant. Big up.
Yeah.
We do a big up Tashmatic on the channel every 5 minutes. Big up Tashmatic.
What
Listen,
is that,
guys?
Paul, that bit, Stel?
Sorry, say again?
What is that? Ashmatic every 5 minutes.
Because whenever Alex comes on this channel, all he does is say, big up my boy Ash, big up my boy Ashmatic. You know, I love that guy, big up. So what we do is we do a big up for Alex now. Yeah. Because he comes on, he just bigs up Ash and nobody else gets a big up, just Ash.
Nice to meet you, Ian and David.
And you, Dan.
Cheers, guys.
You too, Dan, mate. Nice to meet you. And cheers again, Stel, as always.
Mate, pleasure. Love having you guys on. Everyone in the chat, make sure you follow these guys on their channels. And we are out of here. We'll see you during the week for the next drama at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. What could possibly happen next? Take care.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Jelly and
The first game we look for, Robbie.